It damn well hurts.
Certainly it hurts.
Well, what's the trick then?
The trick, William Potter, is not minding that it hurts.
Live from Southern Hills Hospital. Would I do that to you? I would never do that to you. Welcome. Oh, good. Good. There you go. Okay, guys. First day back. Back in the saddle. Hopefully my audio is good for you. Should be. I know, it's always weird on first day back. And I am in the home studio today, Red 2 Studios. But you guys kind of already knew that. Much better. It's hard to do this show without a I got to be my own producer today. Yeah, today's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to dig on this. Check this out. Prophecy fulfilled. Me and Andrew Wilson being the prophets of disaster here today. Anybody see this video yet? I'm sorry, I have to keep the audio off. Oh, yeah. Who is that? That's our lovely... Hey, y'all! That is Lily Phillips, home of the 1,000 plus guys. Yeah, that one. Yep. Welcome to the new year. Here we go.
It's a Christianity pipeline needs to be studied. You made a name off luring young, undisciplined men to the link in your bio, calling it empowerment and self-expression. Then one slow month hits, and suddenly you start rethinking your career. A few weeks later, your bio says Jesus first. You say you were lost and you've decided to use your grifting skills for something positive. Now every post is about healing, donating to mega churches, and being covered in grace instead of covered in nut. But it turns out you still appeal to the same kinds of people, because addiction and religious fanaticism both correlate with reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, which means less nuanced thinking and more moral absolutism. But to know that requires elite ball knowledge. Get your elite ball knowledge polo at childrenofcon.com. Link in bio.
There you go. I got to give them a plug for that. That was pretty decent.
Am I the only one that's like this? Probably not. But when my husband is sick, he's been puking all night. Even if he has a cold, for some reason, the rage inside me.
She's not
such a fiery rage. And I know there's nothing you can do about it to control it. But it just makes me so angry. It's so ridiculous that it makes me so angry. So he's been puking all night. So I slept on the couch because he
knowledge.
Like groans. He's like noisy when he's sick. And I'm gonna try and be a good wife today. I'm gonna try and get him some medicine. I think maybe it makes me so mad because if I'm sick, like I still like do my thing. Like I'm still a mom. I still have stuff I have to do. If I'm like super sick, I'll like stay in bed, obviously, if I can't even function. But like me as a person, when I'm sick, like close the door, leave me alone. I'm gonna do this stuff to help myself get better, and I'm gonna sleep it off. He like, I think it's just the moaning and the like, I don't know.
This is funny because I have to. My wife has been an absolute saint throughout this whole ordeal, but so I just wanted to give her a big shout out. She loves me implicitly. So, but the funny thing is I will say this. I actually had this video 2 weeks before I went in for my surgery, and I didn't know whether or not I should play it or not. But yeah, this is the don't get sick video. This is the when women say like they want you to be vulnerable, not that vulnerable.
Boy, I understand that. And I also can't wait to get it. And I know I'm not going to get it. I'm going to pound the silver. We're pounding vitamin C. We're doing all of it. We've got our oils. We've got all our things to prevent anybody else from getting this. But we're married and
I have to be nice to him.
we had a fun night last night. So 3 hours later, he was puking. Please tell me I'm not gonna get this.
You know what's interesting is she felt so compelled to talk about this on TikTok that she couldn't help herself. And this is the just like one of the greatest things about social media is it gives women this like unlimited opportunity to tell on themselves.
As long as they're not pregnant, you won. I don't care if you got cheated on. I don't care if you had a nightmare time. I don't care if they did horrible things to you. I don't care if they gossip about you. As long as there's no pregnancy and you got out of a relationship, you are the winner. Okay? I don't care how heartbroken you are. I don't care how messed up in the head you are after. I don't care how much of an emotional terrorist they were. I don't care what happened. Okay? I don't care what they did to you. Did you get out of that relationship without an unplanned pregnancy? And this goes both for men and women. Look, one of my good friends, Darla, she tells me about this all the time. Her baby daddy does all these drugs, and he's got her kids like half the week, and they're like, Mommy, Daddy's doing drugs, and all this shit. Darla, I love you. Oh my fucking God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And Darla would tell you, if you got out of it without having kids with the wrong person, you won. Her kids will grow up great. She'll be fine at the end of the day, but she's going to go through hell to getting there. Many guy friends of mine have had kids with women that have borderline personality disorder, or get a drug habit, or hide the kids from them, or make them chase down the kids, or take them to court. They spend millions on lawyers. It is a freaking nightmare. I can't tell you how many people that's happened to. So if you magically got out of a relationship with this person who had these problems and you didn't have a kid, let it go. Just say to yourself, I'm glad I didn't have a kid. Look, I won't even be in a relationship with somebody who's not on very, very good birth control. And people say, oh, use condoms. You're not going to use condoms with somebody for 5 years, okay? So make sure that whoever you're with is on birth control. Don't get them pregnant. And whatever happens by the end, you won.
Well, you could also go the direct route and, I don't know, get a vasectomy.
Was that if you look through the self-help section in the bookstore and you look at books targeted toward men versus targeted toward women, the message is very different. So a lot of like the male self-help books are like a lot of stoic stuff. Like, you know, you need to learn how to become more focused or more disciplined, or stop letting the world affect you and focused on your goal. You need to be strong and improve yourself. You know, no one's going to do you any favors. You know, a lot of self-sufficiency kind of stuff. Whereas the self-help targeted toward women, it's not, you know, you're nothing right now, but if you work really hard, maybe you can turn yourself into something with effort. It's more so you're already, you know, you're already great as you are. But the problem is that you just keep beating yourself up.
God, why I have such a love-hate relationship with Rob.
And that the world just hasn't recognized how great you are, because you keep holding yourself back mentally from accepting that you're great. So it's not so much, you know, you suck, but you work hard and you'll suck less. It's you're already great, but you just keep beating yourself up. And once you accept yourself as you are, then everyone else will recognize how great you are too. Very different.
So I just wanted to throw that one out there. That's the shot. I'm about to give you the chaser here. So what did he say there at the end? Essentially what Rich Cooper's been saying for a long time, right? When we talk to men, and or talk to boys and men, young men and men, what do we tell them? We say, do the right thing, right? Live up, perform. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. What do we tell women? You're enough. You are enough. You, let's see, you know, you go girl. You can be anything you want to. Do what's right for you versus do the right thing. Well, here's the chaser. Tell me where this energy is coming from.
You've already achieved goals that you said would make you happy. So if you haven't made it now, if this isn't when life is going to begin, when are you going to start? A lot of people think, in one form or another, that my life will begin when. They're holding their happiness hostage. They're in a holding pattern, like a plane that can't land for some reason. What if that never changes? What if your problems in life are never ever going to go away? What if problems are always going to be there? What then? Oh wow, well, I'm never going to arrive. That means I need to start living now.
God, this sickly, sappy, saccharine, sweet melodies going on behind this just make me want to puke. And I shouldn't do that right now. This is a female message. Okay, according to Rob Henderson, anyways, this is a female message. Broccoli Boy here is going to have a okay, here's my prediction for one of my predictions for for the new year, since I wasn't able to do last week's show. Here's one of my predictions. This guy is going to come out as a homosexual, guaranteed. There, you got it. You heard it here first.
A lot of successful men are going to have to let go of is trying to find somebody who loves them for them. Once you get to a certain point, you've crossed a threshold where you're just not normal anymore. So you can't have normal expectations for the people around you. And this is actually where a lot of successful men have their downfall, because they keep growing, succeeding, gaining more popularity, and they're still attracted to the people they were attracted to before they were successful. Which is where we run into the situations, if she's not toxic, that is where she's asking you to spend more time with her, to get off your phone, to stop working so much. It doesn't mean either of you are bad people, but you keep trying to force a reality that you no longer live in. Once you let go of the dream that somebody will love you for you and accept that you are no longer that person, then you can start aligning with the reality you're in instead of where you're trying to force yourself to be, and start matching with people who are actually going to love you for you.
So now, after that, do you think you ought to take Chris Williamson's just let it ride, brah? Live for the now, man. Maybe it doesn't get any better than this. Just try to be happy and content, man. Are you buying that one?
I don't think we look good together, and I don't believe in that also. I think I look good and his wallet is cute. That's what I'm worried about also. I don't mind if a guy is not looking cute, but his wallet has to be cute. And short story, actually it's a 15 years long story, but the good part is every time I touch anything and I want anything, he was always there. Okay, baby, you want this? I can give you even better than that. So I think that is the best part about our relationship, and I really enjoyed that.
Do you think there are looks matched like these guys? We'll get into that later on.
Every woman is a Christian. That's why they don't believe in submission. Actually, no, they just continue to buy into this independent woman mindset and continuously deny their biology. Because biologically, a woman cannot be attracted to something that she has to protect. And if she is the leader of her home, she's basically the mother of her husband. She's not going to be sexually attracted to him. Historically,
and now you know why women get so pissed off when their husband is sick.
Male leadership meant protection, resources, stability. So women are naturally attracted to men who take ownership and take that leadership role. A woman has to have respect for her man to be sexually attracted to him. And when she becomes
wrong,
the leader of the home, she loses all respect for him. And that's when the intimacy dies. And also, let's just say when you first started dating your man, you were super attracted to him. He was super masculine. But you never stepped into that submissive role when you guys got married, and instead you pointed out all his flaws and you became super controlling. That man is going to naturally pull back into a lower role, and you are going to become the leader, which is going to make you way less sexually attracted to him. So you can deny the Christianity part of submission all you want, but you cannot deny the biology.
She's not a Christian!
Know the real reason why America is absolutely losing its mind? Look at this graph. In 1995, there was about 40 rock and roll bands on the Billboard Hot 100, and in the same year, there was about 14 million Americans being medicated for their mental health.
You're goddamn right.
That's a lot of medication, probably too much already, but do you know what that number is in 2025? Over 45 million Americans are now being medicated for their mental health issues. And do you know how many rock and roll bands are in the Billboard Hot 100? 0. My advice to you is if you're feeling like shit, you had a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, or even a bad year, find some rock and roll music, crank that shit up, go start punching your pillows, go scream, go dig some holes.
You're goddamn right.
Find a concert to go to, jump in a mosh pit, drink some beers, scream, run around, and let that energy out. Just do it. We need rock and roll back in the mainstream before we totally lose it as a country. God bless you.
You're goddamn right. I say I'm doing my part. I am 57 years old. I play in a band. I'm trying to help the youth of America today. Yes, I'm back. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna let's see. Wait, let's go to comments here. I don't know how long. I'm just gonna give you the quick version of today. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this today. I haven't sat upright this way for a while now. So if I'm good for 2 hours, it's going to be a long show. Just saying right now. But doing pretty good. Oh, and thank you for that. Oddly enough, he's not here right now, but if you'd like to see the all new Ned Cam, he's not on his bed right now. So that's the Ned Cam right there. I did set up the Ned Cam. So if Ned comes in here and he wants to lay down, then I'll whip it on Ned for a little bit just to give you a bonus material. But you have to keep the super chats coming in for Ned. maybe that'll get him to come in. I am in no way doing. I know, right? 6 hours later. I'm alive. I'm okay. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. I already, like I said, I've been really super transparent about my health condition. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm back from the upside down. God, there's enough. Would you like to talk about that today? Where's that?
Would you like to know more?
Yeah, would you like to know more about Stranger? Would you like to know if you want to know my opinion on Stranger Things, I'll take any super chat question and I will start that thread off. But yeah, it's a long road out of hell, put it that way. I woke up 8 hours after I was knocked out. Like, I have memories of actually push because I was 100% fine when I was like, I'm like high-fiving all the the interns and shit like that on the way into the surgery room. And I remember just getting myself pushed over into the table. It's kind of weird too, because I don't like hospitals, period. I like veterinarian offices that much worse because it's very rare that you go into see a vet because things are great. Like, I mean, maybe to get like shots and like a nail clipping or something like that. But boy, my experience with veterinarians has not been, I would say it's overwhelmingly negative, but they did save Ned. So I should probably tell you that. I remember it was last summer. It was in July of last summer. We went, my wife and I took a trip to Reno and Tahoe, but we were in Reno. And I said, you know what, let's drop by the animal emergency vet where we used to take Ned. We had to take him there all the time because of his attack and everything. We spent a good year of our lives just basically like reconditioning Ned back to where he is right now. It took a long time. It was tough. It was tough on the both. It was like emotionally taxing and it was financially taxing at that time. Now, the best thing, of course, is that we all broke even. So I said, you know what? Let's go back to vet hospital and talk to the people who we'd made friends with because we were in there like weekly. And I'm like, I went in there and I said, thank you for saving my best friend, because they see so much death in veterinary, especially emergency animal hospitals and stuff like that. Because if you're there for an emergency, most people can't afford to keep their pet alive. And that's like when I see like somebody like Steve will do it or something, where they're just like tossing out $100 bills to whoever and stuff like that. If you really want, like Steve will do it. If Steve is watching this, if you're one of those guys, those influencers who just takes your money and just gives it out to the poor and the needy and the people who really go sit your happy ass in a veterinary clinic for about an hour. And then the people who are there who can't afford the medical procedure to keep their pet alive, which probably would keep them alive if you paid for that, right in the feels. Right in the feels. Okay, you would do very well to do something like that. So we went there and I told them, I said, hey, look, I actually showed video of Ned and everything. I said, you guys did this. Ned is alive because of you guys today. You did good. And I know that they probably don't see that all the time, right? So anyways, long story. But I get in there. Of course, they gave me the juice and then I blacked out. And then I blacked in about 8 hours later. And I'm there with one of the nurses and my wife. And they said, it's been 8 hours. It is now 7:30 p.m. And I was like, this was supposed to be only like 4 hours, right? So it was twice as long. And it was a long surgery to begin with. And it still is rough going. And I already I'm not going to belabor the point here because I already put this up on, I put it up on Twitter. I put it up on my Substack as well. So if you want to know like the specifics, the nuts and bolts of what's going on with me right now, you can go to my Substack or you can go to my Twitter account and just like look up, my last like week or so of posts. Certainly on my Substack, you'll easily find it there. But I basically go into what I have and what the complications were. It's not life-threatening. I'm okay. I'll be fine. It's just going to take a little bit longer to recover. I'm doing this show, so I feel okay. Actually, I feel pretty good, but I'm not going to be lifting for a while. Just say that, which is okay. I probably won't start lifting again until April, and that's kind of for a guy like me. It's like I want to go out and I want to tear into things, but so I have to rechannel that energy into shows like today. but I'm okay. And thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for whatever positive juju you sent into the universe, because it worked. And I came back from the upside down. So I didn't have a near death experience. I was kind of almost disappointed. Like, see your body, like you're hovering above your body in the operating room or some shit like that. None of that happened. But they kept me alive. I have to also, like, finding it's just, I learned a lesson. It is just as important to catch people doing good as it is to catch them doing shit, doing bad things. You catch your kids like doing something bad, we're like, hey, Johnny, smack, like whatever. Always catch them doing something good too, because it's just, I would say it's almost more important for you to like acknowledge people doing good stuff. So I'm going to acknowledge my surgery team, which is Desert West Surgery Team in Las Vegas, Nevada. My surgeon was Dr. Christian Chan. He is fucking amazing. And let's see, there's Dr. Rogers. He's one of the surgical staff. There's Dr. Iwamoto, who is, by the way, not Japanese. He is white as the day is long. And I don't know how he got Iwamoto as his last name, but that's his last name. And he's just as white as anybody, white as I am. And just like some really, really, really awesome team that they have there. And I'll tell you what's funny is, like, whenever like I talk to like a doctor or I talk to like a nurse or like nephrologist comes in or whatever, they come and they go. I can't even remember their names. But man, when Dr. Chan walks in, I'm like, motherfucker, thank you. I fist bump, thank you for keeping me alive. He came in on Christmas Day, and I was like, dude, thank you for keeping me alive, which is basically what I'd said to the people at the emergency clinics for Ned. I said, thank you for giving me my best friend back. So yeah, it's humbling for sure. And like I said, it's going to be a long kind of strenuous process back, but every day I get a little bit better. So I'm in good spirits. And I know the great thing is I know all this shit's just temporary. By probably the middle of April, I should be back on top of things. And yes, I am still planning on doing the Miami white party for Babes in Toyland, and we are going to do our annual fishing trip. So in case you're wondering, in fact, I probably should start promoting that right now, because I had so many people who wanted to be in on it. So if I can do it, I might even do a 2-day at this point. I'm sure Captain Nelson would appreciate that. But anyways, thank you for your super chats. I'm going to jump into those just a second. But so that's main announcement is I'm still alive. I'm still doing my thing. You couldn't kill me. And I don't know if you guys saw this. I should just go dig this up. I was watching. I've been watching a lot of TV lately. I mean, I write a lot too, so don't get me wrong. But I've been. Oh, did I throw that away? I don't think I threw that. Oh, here it is. This is funny. So I'm watching Fallout on Premiere, which is actually a pretty decent show. I think it's pretty good. People were asking me about Stranger Things. Yes, I watched the whole thing for Stranger Things. If you think that it's been watched in the last, like, I don't know, 2 weeks, I probably have seen it. I did see Pluribus, which I thought was actually a lot better than, I don't think people gave that enough credit. It was actually a pretty good show. I'm watching Landman, and I know people have had some pretty choice words about it recently, and I'm going to give you my theory on Landman today. But before I do that, like I said, I was watching Fallout, and there was this one scene where the ghoul, who is Cooper Hauer, is like trying to get you recover from being like attacked by giant scorpions and shit like that. And there's this picture right here of the dog. They just call it Dog, and the ghoul, right? And I looked at this, and I looked towards my wife, and I said, "That's me and Ned." Like when I got home and I woke up at home, I'm like, "Ned's right there." Like, this is me and Ned right here. So I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, we're going to talk about that a little bit today. We definitely need to talk about Lily Phillips, unfortunately. Did I shave my head? Yes, I did. I shaved my head prior to going into surgery, not because I was having brain surgery or anything. I was going to do it anyways. It was just, I wanted to be hassle-free when I went in, and I'm going to change my look a little bit for 2026. So people are going to go, "Oh, I always knew he was bald." I'm not bald. I'm just shaved my head. Thank you very much. I don't know when I'm going to do the grand unveiling. I might do it on like Access Vegas or something like that. We'll see. So just to like hold on your panties. It'll happen at some point. So I'm going to lose the beanie pretty soon, and just like, it is what it is. I don't give a shit. At this point, I don't give a shit. So let's see. Okay, what the hell? I'll do these real quick. Oh, thank you very much for that. Here, you get a hallelujah. Rollo's back. Whoa. Rollo's back from the dead. Awesome seeing you back in Jack Napier's chat during Rule Zero. Been enjoying Ryan, Jack, and Nuke stuff too. Much needed with all of the fake red pill BS that's out there. Thanks for recommending. Yeah. Okay. So why did I do that? Other than boredom. I went in, I'm like, I was, my hours are like out the window right now because I don't work out. I can't get to the gym. So I'm awake at like 6 a.m., and I'm like, so I'm looking at it, and I realize that at about 8 o'clock, 8:30, Rule Zero's going on. I'm like, oh shit, I'll go see what these guys are doing, right? And so it's only like Nuke and what's his name? Jesus Christ. Why am I blocking on Jack Napier? Jack Napier's name. So it's only Nuke and Jack Napier, and I'm like, God, these boys need some help. So I went in and I just started chatting a little bit with them, and they were just, I think they're very appreciative of it. And I'm glad that Rule Zero is still doing what it's doing right now. I might revisit Rule Zero. And I'll tell you why, just to sort of complete the circle with your super chat there. I will probably revisit Rule Zero because I was in the hospital and I had Myron talk. I was talking to Myron. I was texting Myron, and he said that he wanted to do a panel show. He wanted to do some kind of show. I get this lumbar thing out of the way here. Don't need no stinking lumbar. So he wanted to do a panel show. I'm like, just go pick up Rule Zero again. So I don't know how that would work. I don't know what like Ryan's feelings are with working with like someone like Myron or something like that. But even Myron is, for all of his pivots to social issues and like, anti-Semitic, whatever the fuck it is, like the Jews this, the Jews that. I don't have a dog in that fight, and it's not my circus and it's not my monkey. So I just let them do what they're doing. But like, I do definitely see a need to have sort of a unitary voice of the red pill, which I have been faithfully for, well, now 24 years. We're coming up on 24 years anyways. I don't even know what my anniversary is from starting podcasting, I guess. Or I guess it would have been like 2004 is when I started doing stuff. Well, 2002 is when I joined So Suave. So I kind of tracked the beginning of my sort of really odd career in this sort of niche as far back as 2002. So I guess I'm 14 years in now. Anyways, so yeah, I think there does necessarily have to be a sort of a better conversation going on, because we have all these very disparate voices, and quite honestly, I'm getting sick of trying to sort of clean up everybody's mess, and not to fling turds at anybody, to flick boogers on anybody, but I am noticing, of course, there's a lot of AI bot channels that are just basically regurgitating bad information. And then what happens, then you get these stupid critics who only see the stupid bots, and they go, oh, that must be what the red pill's about. They have no earthly idea. And so then they come and attack me, or they'll attack like Andrew Tate. They think that that's the beginning and the end of the red pill, right? And I've got some videos to show you today too, but no, it's not. And I think that there needs to be a more cohesive, more aggregate conversation about certainly the intersexual dynamics aspect of whatever the fucking red pill is these days. So, because to me, it never was anything other than the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. And I think we need to like take it back from idiots like Nick Fuentes, who wants to just like fumble his way through that kind of shit. Let him go do whatever the fuck he's going to go do, but don't take me down with you, dumb fuck. I'm trying to think who else is trying to appropriate the manosphere these days. There's a lot of people who are. And I'll tell you what's funny is like I am now starting to see people like Rob Henderson, certainly Chris Williamson, when he does an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he's just rattling off red pill like idiom after idiom, and I'm like, dude, you know, like you could have had me like ages ago, but you don't care. These guys aren't about it. These guys are just about, I want to talk to people who are about the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. I want to talk to people who are about the red pill. I would rather have that discussion than any other discussion. Because I think that are not only is our political, religious, economic fates all tied to sexual dynamics. It's everything, right? So as I said before, and I'll just reiterate here just real quickly, is like, I don't do politics. I don't do religion. I don't do, ethno-nationalism. I don't do race. But if it crosses over, any of those topics cross over into intersexual dynamics, it's fair game, right? Want to guess how many do? All of them. So that's why I write a book like Religion, which is the confluence of the red pill and religion, spirituality, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Player's Handbook is really just to inform guys or like sort of break down the mechanics of why those red pill guys think that stuff, right? If you'd read that book, Rob or Chris or Steve Bartlett or what's his name? Who was the guy that was with Indian guy that James Sexton was just on with? I forget. So it starts with a V. I can't remember. Anyways, the guy that cut out the 15 minutes he was mentioning my name and Mike's name over and over again, that guy, yeah, that's who are the gatekeepers. Those are the people who you don't get past unless put everybody together and you build your own gate. Then they got to come to you. And I'll tell you what's funny is I would not give much thought to somebody who is like a Myron Gaines or myself, or certainly Mike. Like Mike talks to a lot of these guys. So what the fuck is that guy's name? Jay Shetty. Thank you. Finally, somebody said it right. Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty cuts out 15 minutes of his own like raw footage because what?
You're goddamn right. Name.
Say my name.
Like, man, well, sometimes you don't get no holes, man.
What are you afraid of, Jay? Jay Shetty. I don't even know who that dude was until like Mike brought him up. Mike was the one who actually talked to Jim Sexton first to find out that nice little fun fact nugget. But hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm still here. Yeah. So yeah. But I'm of the opinion that I'm put it this way, I'm open to doing like more regular collabs, certainly with Myron. I've always been open to doing stuff with Myron and Fresh. But we do need to get back. As I said before, what did I say this time last year? So going into the next year, going into the next 4 years, because Trump had just gotten in office. Going in the next 4 years, we got to go through sort of this sort of build-up cycle, which we just went through. Everybody wants to talk about MGTOW. Everybody wants to talk about what? Looks maxing. Who could we be referring? What looks maxer could there be? Remember Face and LMS? Remember all that shit? Are they still even active anymore? Are that guy still active anymore? Because I'll tell you right now, Clavicular, he just fucking ate your lunch. Face and LMS. Clavicular is the Elvis, literally the Elvis Presley of looks maxing right now. And yes, I am aware of the Christmas or Eve clavicular manslaughter. God, I can't believe I said that. Clavicular manslaughter incident that happened it was Christmas Eve, actually. Clavicular's too good looking to go to jail, right? He's like a chick, It's like, we can't put her in jail. Well, why not? She's too hot. He's just like Clavicular. It's like Zoolander. Every time I see maybe that's what I should just call Clavicular from now on. He's Derek Zoolander. Derek Zoolander. He's really, really, really ridiculously good looking, so much so that we can't file charge of vehicular manslaughter charges on him. If he'd have been less good looking, he probably wouldn't have beat the rap. Yep. Thank you for this $1. Every buck counts, man. Thank you. Do you think the Muslims are going to go home after Iran's government gets overthrown? Are they? Are they really being overthrown? I know. I saw some. I did see some civil unrest videos on the Twitterage, on Twix. Thank you, Phil Labonte, for popularizing that. Let's just hypothetical, since you did give me $5. No, not all of them. Maybe some people, Muslims in the area, maybe will go back, but they're especially Westernized Muslims who are used to like a Western society and the comforts of Western, culture, technology, flushable toilets, hot and cold running water, and actual, was it civil engineering? Civil infrastructure. You don't have to be Muslim to appreciate that. I would rather be here than over there. There's probably going to be some people in the region who will, but I don't think they're all going to be flocking back to the motherland because the Ayatollahs are gone. But as I said, I don't do politics on this show. I just play one on the internet. Hi, Rolo. Glad to see you are well. Thank you. How much pushback do you think Triggernometry would have given you if that you were sharing the same information as Helen Andrew? Well, the thing is, you know what? I guess we'll never know because I have been sharing that for a long time. I've said from as far back as, the Pat Campbell days, as far back as 2018, the woke mindset, the leftist progressivist mindset is emotionalism. It's rooted in egalitarianism, emotionalism, social constructionism, and the blank slate. I've said those are the four pillars or the four legs of the stool of any progressive thought, any kind of progressive ideology, any kind of leftist communism, socialism, wealth redistribution, anything that is a cornerstone of progressive liberal wokesy thinking is held up by four legs of the stool, which is emotionalism, egalitarianism, social constructionism, and the blank slate. Kick out any of those four, or several of those, kick out any of those four, and that ideology or that principle or that thing that they believe in, whatever it is, comes crashing to the fucking ground. And that's essentially what I was proposing in 2019, 2020, when I was finishing up my book, The Rational Male Religion. There's a section in there where I get into what's called the Gaddis movement. And that was just the title. Okay, I'm not actually saying there's a Gaddis movement. But it's based on female psyche, right? So what's the female psyche? I think one of the things that like Helen's good. Don't get me wrong. I like what she has to say. And I'm still sort of on the fence about it, only because I don't want to, I'm cautiously optimistic because I don't want to overinvest any kind of hope in anybody actually getting a message because of her. Like, the only reason Triggernometry has her on there is because she gets clicks, because she has clout. All these guys are clout chasers, fucking clout chasers. Every last one of these guys are. They don't care about what the person on the opposite side of the table says, thinks, their ideology, any of that. If they did, they would never have had Ashley St. Clair on their show. They would never have had Nick. I don't know if Nick Fuentes on there. They would never have had like half the people. Who's the one that was on there recently? Oh, certainly Destiny. They would never have had those guys on there if they were principled, if they were about something more than just the advancement of their show. And that's all they're about. They're just entertainment. Same thing with Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson flip-flops, constantly flip-flops on the message. Like, and the reason I say that is because I know he has a production team. I have my own production team too. So I know how the mechanics of it work. Now, I'm a hands-on kind of guy when it comes to my social media and my personal brand, publishing, broadcasting. I'm very hands-on about that. In fact, I tell my team, I said, I am anti-marketing. I don't want to be the guy who's like, hey guys, come and check out my landing page. Hey, funnel marketing. Fuck that. You guys expect real from me, and I'm going to give you real. That's my marketing, anti-marketing. And so I feel good about it, and it's actually pretty effective for my brand, has been for a long time. So comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. That, do you guys understand that? Yes. Okay. Congratulations. You're hired. But I don't think that Triggernometry cares one way or the other what the fuck Helen Andrews has to say, as long as the engagement is fucking high, as long as the analytics prove, whatever. I've discussed this with Andrew Wilson when he was in Vegas, and actually a couple of occasions, and Myron and these other guys too. It's like, we're not in their ecosystem. I'm not in Chris Williamson's ecosystem. I'm not in Steve Bartlett's ecosystem. And unfortunately, that also means that Mike Sartain is not in their ecosystems either. And he probably would be. He probably could be if he wasn't attached at the hip to me. But that's why Mike is the real dude. He's the real deal, right? He's a real one. Why do you like to hang out with Mike? It must be those hot chicks. Well, yeah, the hot chicks are definitely a perk of the job, but it's because Mike's real, man. You guys, once I'm gone, man, Mike is Knife Chief. He's the chief. I don't know what Knife Chief is. That's between me and Pat Campbell. I'll tell you about that sometime. Mike will probably be my successor when I decide that it's time to take a step back. That's not anytime soon, but if and when, if I had died on the operating table, he certainly would. So, and yes, coffee is your friend. I don't think Triggernometry is there. I'm gonna steal something from Coral Osborne. They're NARPs. They're not a real person. Not real persons. Not a real person is a NARP. They're NARPs. They're not real. Chris Williamson is a NARP. Steve Bartlett's a NARP. Tom Beaulieu, a NARP. They're not real people. They only care about brand, and nothing comes out of their mouth that isn't on brand. Seriously. You go to dinner with these guys, they'll be like, yeah, let me tell you about this and this and this. Like, they will never be real with you. They can't, because the persona that they created for themselves, their online persona that they created for themselves, is now who they are. That personality took over. It's like Sybil, she got multiple personalities. Right? That personality, the persona they created, the Ziggy Stardust they created, takes over. That's what they are. They're NARPs. So, yeah. If I'm sharing the same thing, I'll tell you that's the funny thing is I have been for a long time. I've been sharing. In fact, I've gone further than she has, because I to my knowledge, I don't think she. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. To my knowledge, she doesn't incorporate anything about evolutionary psychology into her estimate of why woke, progressivist, left, liberal-leaning egalitarianism is a female way of thinking. It's part of the female psyche. You already know this, because this is in my my book Religion. In 2020, when I published it, actually I was writing it in 2018, 2019, but in 2020 in the book, that's what I said, is that almost to the letter of what she's saying in there. It's almost like she's just, I'm paraphrasing, the rational male religion. What does a religion, what does a politics, what does a world look like that is organized, designed by women for women? I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like the Christian church right now is what it looks like. What does a religion by women for women look like? Pretty much evangelical Christianity right now, as far as I'm concerned. Certainly, even Catholicism, you guys don't get off the hook either. And I was going to say, for all the people who want to say, oh, well, everybody's flocking to Eastern Orthodox religions. No, they're not. I mean, if you look at the numbers now, they're not. It's just, it might have been a bit. The thing is like whenever there's a tragedy, like when Charlie Kirk got shot, oh, look, there's a big tent revival of Christians. Yeah, for the first 2 weeks after he's dead, and then they just kind of taper off. Same thing with TPUSA. It's like, I would not Mike wanted to go to TPUSA next year, just to, like, we'll just go buy tickets and just go walk around and fuck around with people. Just go to the expo, just so we were there and doing like, on the floor kind of interviews. I think that would be kind of funny. But other than like the entertainment value of that, I don't see there's any value whatsoever, because everybody at the TPUSA is a NARP. They're just there to build brands. It's a brand expo is what it is. Christianity has become funnel marketing. Christianity has become cosplay. That's what Lily Phillips is doing. She's cosplaying a Christian. Same thing as Nala Ray. She's cosplaying a Christian. That's the grift. You like I said, the pipeline. And that's why I was asking, that's why I titled today's show, is OnlyFans a Christianity pipeline? And I think what's funny is for all the Megyn Kellys and Erica Kirks and Allie Beth Stuckies will say, oh, we need to ban OnlyFans and porn and all this other stuff like that. Where would you get great spokeswomen like Nala Ray if you did that? Where would you get your prodigal daughters from to build up your brand? Because that's all it is. It's just it's shuck and jive, and I hate it. I honest to God hate it. I hate the fact that I have to, people go, well, aren't you a Christian? Well, yeah, but whatever that is, I'm not that. That's why I keep saying, like, when people go, well, what denomination are you? What franchise are you? It's basically what they're asking me. McDonald's or Burger King? None. I don't know. You tell me. I can tell you what I believe. I can tell you what my faith is. Do I pray with my wife? Goddamn right, I pray with my wife, especially recently. Do I believe in Jesus Christ as a risen Savior? Yes, absolutely. Even Mike would say the same thing. But once you get past the basics, the nuts and bolts of faith, then it's marketing at that point, and I'm not whatever that is. My father told me this one time. In fact, I put this in the book. My father told me one time, he said, just because my dad was a dyed-in-the-wool atheist. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I do mention this, by the way, in my book. My father was a humanist, secularist, skeptic for sure. Goddamn skeptic, which in a way is not a bad thing. It's just when it creates, it's when it closes off your mind that skepticism is kind of limiting. And my dad said to me one time, because I told my dad, I said, my mom had planted the seeds in me a long time ago, but I said, Dad, I'm a Christian. Right? My dad said, okay, well, just because you're Christian doesn't excuse you from thinking. And that was, my dad hasn't given me a lot of things and a lot of wisdom, but that was one thing that stuck. Being a Christian does not excuse you from critical, rational thought. And I thought that was sort of impactful, especially coming from a guy who was like an atheist, accepting that his son was Christian. Right? And so when I see stuff like this, Jesus, I got to do this again. Sorry. Okay. Get out of here. Not you. You. So when I see stuff like this is cosplay to me, man. It's like I'm trying to think critically here. I'm trying to think with my brains. To me, sorry, but my first impression is going to be, this is not sincere. This is a grift. This is a shtick. Why? Because all she's ever done is shtick. Wasn't she pregnant? Oh, no, that was Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue was supposedly pregnant, right? Annie Knight, Bonnie Blue, and Lily Phillips. They're the F1 drivers of amateur porn. Oh yeah, you did 1,000. I'm going to do 1,000 and 100, 1,100. Oh yeah. I'll see your 1,100 and I'll raise you 1,500 in 24 hours. Every second counts. I just saw F1, by the way. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm not offended by a lot of things, but this is offensive to me. And why? Because I think that your faith should be something that is like something that's very private, very sincere, very, very part of you. And so I don't want to see that happen to something I believe in, right? And that's why I'm offended by that. You know what I'm more offended by? is this default setting where it's like you've got like, let's see if I can say it right, Andrew Wilson, sewing circle Christians. Just circle the wagons around Lily Phillips, right? Circle the wagons around Nala Fit. We'll circle the wagons around, Jenna Jameson. Don't forget Jenna. Circle the wagons around here. And it's like, our daughter has finally returned. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the notion or the parable of the prodigal daughter, or well, in this case, prodigal daughter, prodigal son from the Bible, but we're just going to gender swap because that's what we do these days, right? Rolo had ball reduction surgery. I had to. They're just getting too goddamn big, man. Too big for either that or I had to start like changing my wardrobe. Glad you're doing better. Just finished my first Substack book review. Oh, cool. On Reignite. Excellent. Yeah. Link it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Sammy, if you would, be sure to save that for me so I can grab it later. This post as to not make it a grip for my Substack. That's okay. If you're watching the show, hey, if you write on Substack, I am happy to promote you because we need more writers. Hallelujah. Wait, hold on. You said the right word. You didn't go into the light yet. Funny, I didn't see any light. Oh, here we go. You're the big super chat for the day so far. What are your thoughts on having a prenup and a prenup conversation? In the sense that prenups for men are kind of an overt and explicit measure to control the frame of a relationship, which you advise against, i.e. observing a process changes the process. Yeah. So from that respect, well, let's start from the beginning. Okay. And this is a Jim Sextonism. If you do not have a prenuptial agreement between you and your wife and, attorneys, you have one. Either it's with a state or it's with a private attorney. That's how it works. You already have a prenuptial agreement. And that prenuptial agreement is I defer to all the state's laws and everything else, and she, winner takes all. Or you can preset that. That's one of the things I think that's going to, it's already killing off marriage, but I'll tell you what's funny is like a lot of people think that a prenuptial agreement is necessarily a death sentence, or as in Michael Knowles' opinion, means that you're calling your wife a whore, or your fiance, your wife to be a whore, right? Because you don't trust her. You don't trust. I think one of the problems with prenuptial agreements that Christians have in particular is that it takes God out of the equation. That's what fucks people up when it comes to, Christians up when it comes to a prenuptial agreement. Because like you'll hear Michael Knowles, you'll hear Matt Walsh, you'll hear, I guess maybe Andrew Clavin, I don't know. You'll hear a lot of sort of Christian neoconservative tradcon pundits talk about, they'll acknowledge the dangers, the statistical dangers of men getting married today. Then you go, okay, well, what do you think about a prenup? Maybe that, at least there's a little bit of an insurance policy. And most of these guys, their response to it is this ancient, like there used to be this show called Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. It was in the 70s, it was this animated thing that they had. And it was like, hippie kids and their, sort of post-war conservative parents and stuff. Like it's almost like All in the Family, except it was like an animated feature called Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. And there used to be this thing about, hey, we don't need a marriage contract to, signify our love. We don't need to be married to be in love. And then what happens, of course, is that, they break up, and that's why you need a contract, blah, blah. But the basis of that episode, or that show anyways, was when it came to marriage, they would say, well, marriage is just a contract. Marriage is just a piece of paper. I don't need a piece of paper. It's just between me and God, right? Well, funny thing is that when you say that to even to today's like traditional conservatives, they still go back to that 1970 show, right? Well, I've even heard Jordan Peterson say this before. Like, these guys think that they could just move in with their girlfriends and then just have this great marriage afterwards, and they're just a starter marriage, like by them living together, like they're shacking up, right? I think shacking up is a bad idea, but not for the same reasons that they do. But their reasoning is that guys are afraid to get married, afraid, because that fear is rooted in a sort of a lack of faith. That's where it really comes down to. Is I think that a lot of the discourse that we have about modern marriage today, whether it's prenuptial agreements or it's divorce statistics or it's what do I get out of it, like I think what would be funny is I would like to, maybe next time I talk to him, I'll ask him this. Andrew Wilson, when he confronted Tommy Lahren and said, well, what does the guy get out of it? Like, he's done this a million times. It was great that he threw that at Tommy, but he's done it a million times on whatever podcast with the girls on there. Well, what do you bring to the table? Okay, besides your pussy, right? Besides the sex that you said shouldn't be all about sex. Okay, well, fine. Well, then what else is there? Just give me an example. No, they can't. There's clip after clip of whatever podcast where he's asking this question from like various girls, and they all stop short of a real answer. They don't know. But what I would like to do is I'd like to ask Andrew, I say, okay, great. What does Rachel bring to the table? Because that might be like at least a template for these girls to sort of like ad lib from, like a crib sheet from Rachel or something like that. At least they would have an answer. But they would never come to that conclusion. But even Tommy Lahren couldn't answer that question because it's never been put to them. Even Tommy Lahren to this day is still stinging from that because she didn't have an answer and she looked stupid for not having the answer. You're less than a man. Why? I'm just asking you a question, And the thing is that from the opposite side of that conversation, then you get like the Michael Knowles, and then you get like the Matt Walsh, and then you get Andrew, whoever. Hell, by the way, I am way done with Ben Shapiro right now, but the counter argument to that is it's your duty. You have to. If you want to be considered a real man, if you want the real man medal, then you have to take the risk. You have to jump off the cliff. You have to take literally take a leap of faith. Because if you don't, then you have no faith. And that's really what kind of boils down to. That's the thing one of the things I kind of despise about the punditry right now is there has to be this, well, all the other lemmings are jumping off the cliff and you should too. And if you don't, then you're not a true believer. And more guys are going, fuck that. And the reason they're going, fuck that, and let's just say, in addition to saying, fuck that, they're also saying, I don't want your religion. I don't want your politics. I don't want your ideology. I don't want any of this stuff, because if all of those things lead to me jumping off that cliff, I'm out. That doesn't work for me. I think I probably just described CGA's like atheism right there. It's, how do you come to that? Well, because you see all these guys who are like, just hope for them. Hope is a strategy, which, by the way, I heard them say in F1 and was a line from Brad Pitt, which I know didn't come from CGA, it came from somewhere else, but hope is not a strategy, right? And I think that's what it boils down to. So it's a lack of faith. So if you're against marriage, it's a lack of faith. It's saying, oh, God's not going to take care of you. Then I go and I look at a guy like George Bruno or some of these other guys who've been put through the ringer, who were very religious guys when they were in their marriages and they got divorced and there's no network of support. But, again, one of the reasons I created Reignite was for those guys. I don't want guys who are fresh out of a divorce or, who are despondent because they never even, they're still virgins at 35. They never got a real date since 35 or whatever. I want to see those guys succeed, and I'm happy to say a lot of my guys have. Rich, you know what I'm talking about. Steve. As far as the prenuptial agreement thing is concerned, again, I think one of the reasons why it's such a sore spot for traditional conservatives, for sure, is because it implies a lack of faith. You wouldn't need a prenuptial agreement if you believed that God was going to see you through. And then, of course, what happens when you get divorced? Well, it looks like you just picked the wrong one. You didn't vet. See, that's the thing. That's the circular logic for all this bullshit, because it never allows the faith to be questioned. It never allows the ideology to be questioned. Because what you're doing is you're taking you're taking a physical consequence, a physical argument, a physical problem, and you're trying to solve it with metaphysical rationale, metaphysical reasonings, right? And I learned this actually in comparative religion. I also learned it in maybe it was logic or something like that when I was in college. Is you cannot resolve a metaphysical question with physical evidence. You cannot resolve a physical question with metaphysical evidence. They're both mutually exclusive from each other. But that's exactly what guys like Matt Walsh and the rest of these guys want to do when they say, just go get married. Find you a girl. Anything will work. Go have babies. Right? Doesn't matter if you're ready for it. Just go do it. More and more guys are like, fuck that. Why would I? And it's not, by the way, it's not about fear of like prenuptial agreements. There's like fear of losing half your stuff. It's not about fear. And I love it when they couch it in fear. You just fear losing your stuff. You fear. These young incel guys are scared. They're not scared. They're cautious. They're like, there's a difference between being discerning. That's in the Bible, right? Discernment. Being wary. Understanding like what the risks, like risk to reward assessments, you know? It's like making investments. If I made really stupid investments in like penny stocks and I got my ass handed to me, you wouldn't go, well, you didn't have enough faith. Because you didn't pray hard enough. Nobody says that. When you get into a bad marriage, that's exactly what it says. Like, oh, you should have let God, let go and let God. Right? Okay, but that's not a strategy. It's not assessment. You know, I'm not saying that there doesn't necessarily need to be faith in marriage. There definitely does. It's definitely a strengthening factor in my marriage. But I also recognize that my wife and I are a very good fit. And I also recognize that, a lot of the reasons that I'm at where I'm at right now in a good, well-adjusted, healthy, fun, sex-filled marriage is because of the red pill. Because of, I attribute it to a lot of things, but certainly that is involved in it. But you would never hear that come out of the mouth of Matt Walsh. But yeah, as far as I think one of the reasons why prenups are such a sore spot is because it implies a lack of faith. Like it's so I don't know if you guys play craps. Okay. So when you do the coming out roll, right? It's the very first roll, fresh roller, ready to go. Like if you roll a 7 or an 11, that's, you got it, right? You win on the first roll, right? You get a 12, a 2, or a 3, that's craps dice, and you lose, right? Statistically, it's 50-50. So it rolls down to, but craps dice is you lose, and 7 or 11, you win. Okay? That's on the coming out roll. I don't know if you guys ever play. The only game I play, I mean, I do play poker, but like doing game I play consistently with myself and Miguel and Charlie, who are the Cultivate Crypto and Dollar Cost Crypto guys. The only game we play at the clubs is craps because it's the best odds in the house. So there's only 2 dice. There's only so many outcomes, right? And oddly enough, it's not too dissimilar from the crypto market. But when you're doing that coming out throw, you can bet that it's going to be a 7 or 11, which is called a come bet. Don't get too crazy. COME. It's a come bet. Or you can bet a don't come bet, meaning that you're going to it's going to come up like craps dice. It's not going to be a 7 or 11, right? Or you're not going to set a point. And statistically, you have better odds for a don't come than you do for a come, right? Now, if I know that kind of stuff, if I look at that and people like guys who are really good craps players, when they develop strategies, like you can develop strategies as per the permutations of 2 6-sided dice, right? And of course, it all comes down to the roll of the dice, right? 7 is the most common number. That is the most common permutation of the dice. And when I'm looking at something that is a game of chance, such as craps, and you develop strategies around that, and you look at how to, like, there's a technique called the iron cross. You're going to buy numbers, all that stuff. I play craps, sorry. When you do that, you're accepting these are acceptable odds. Okay. When you're doing something like that with a business, when you're doing something like that with an investment, when you're doing something with crypto for sure, when you're doing something like that with a marriage, it's assessing, it's odd assessment, and human beings do this naturally anyways. Well, first of all, we're very pattern recognition. We're very good at pattern recognition, and we're also good at we're so good at pattern recognition that we will see patterns that aren't really there. I think I mentioned this before. Like if you look at the clouds and you start seeing pictures in the clouds, you say, "Oh, that looks like Godzilla. That looks like a whale. That looks like a triceratops." You know, you see dinosaurs in the clouds, right? Or if you're like me and you're taking a piss and you're staring at the wall and you look at the stucco in the wall, you'll start seeing like little forms. You're like, "Oh, that kind of looks like a gorilla." The fact that you're going, "That kind of looks like something I can recognize," that's your brain trying to fill in the blanks. Very very well researched, by the way, in psychology, is pattern recognition. And so we also do comparisons. So from pattern recognition, we move on to comparisons. And so when we compare one thing to a less good thing to a better thing, we make those comparisons. That's basically what hypergamy is based on. It's just based on sexual market value, and it's based on mating strategies of women. What is a strategy? Well, pattern recognition and making assessments based on that recognition. What's the pattern? Oh, he's a Chad. Okay, well, I want that. I'm going to make a comparison. That guy better than that guy. That's why I'm going to get into that. I've got a video for you guys today. We have to go and we have to do a little bit of remedial red pill 101 today, because somebody sent me this video. I guess it came up in the last 2 weeks about this guy's, I think there's a PBS special that wants to sort of challenge the understanding of red pill masculinity, because good old Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate, Spectre of Tate, has lifted its ugly head at PBS, public broadcast system in the United States. So we'll talk about that later. But they wanted to challenge the idea of oh, well, this idea of an alpha male is really screwed up in generation of guys. Let's see about that. Just started Reignite Audible on chapter 2. Thank you. I was just about to say, and here is your Audible place. Where are we? At the top of the hour? Yes. So Reignite, the book is now on Audible. I realized while I was in the hospital, actually, that I made a mistake. I uploaded the Reignite content, the KDP, the digital, the ebook, the Kindle book of Reignite, mistakenly to my first book, which was The Rational Male, and I re-uploaded it, and people are saying, "Hey, I just downloaded your book." I'm like, Reignite or the first book? And so the first book had the content for Reignite in it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So I looked it up. Sure enough, so that helped me actually light a fire under my ass. And since I didn't have much else to do in the hospital, I have my laptop right there. Guess what old Rollo did? I went and I revised the entire book. Finally, that's how much time I had. I had 8 days to do it. So I revised the book. So the second edition of The Rational Male, the first book, the second edition of the first book is now complete. It has also been uploaded to the digital version now. So if you're going and downloading the first book, that is the new edited, no typos, syntax correct, easier reading version of the Kindle book. Okay. The print book is not out just yet. I have to do the layout. I couldn't do the layout, and I could only do Word when I was at the hospital. But now that I'm here, I'm back in the studio. I have I got Adobe InDesign. I'm going to go back in Photoshop, Illustrator, all that other stuff. I'm going to put redo a reissue of book 1, and it will be larger type. Yes, larger type. Did you guys hear me? Larger type. Yes. People keep asking me, "Brother, why did you make it 9-point type?" I'm an old man and I can't. Sorry. It was my first time doing a book ever. I didn't know. I'm going to do it in a different font too. I'm going to do it in my standard Adobe Castellan Pro, which is a much more legible, easier on the eyes font. It sits a little bit taller, and unless you're Ryan Stone, you can't appreciate these things, these typographical nuances. But so it'll be in that. I'm going to do it in 12-point type. 12-point type, which means it's going to be a bigger book, by the way. So at 9-point type, right now as it stands, it's about a 300-page book. When I go up to 12-point and I do a more modern layout, it's going to look more, the layout's going to look more like Player's Handbook, right? Or religion. I have a sort of standard template for my books now because I finally settled on a theme. So it's going to look a little bit more like the other books. In fact, I might even go do that with book 2 and book 3. But as soon as that's available, I will make a big, gigantic stink about it. I'll probably be on Fresh and Fit when I announce it. And there'll be a new print edition. There'll be a new hardback edition of it as well. All of the typographical error, they're already gone anyways, but like all the typography, I'm reflowing the text. I think what else? The imagery is still the same. The guts, the content is still basically the same. I'm just correcting all the errors that I made back in 2013. Oh, Rollo, I thought you were a professional. That was my first freaking book, man. Cut me some slack, Jack. I didn't even know you needed an Audible book then. So yeah, but thank you for purchasing. You should be up to date. And by the way, yes, Audible is now available, read by Keith Hughes, who is the same reader who Aaron Clary uses. So I thought he was pretty good. He has a good conversational tone and just mix things up again. I was thinking about using Trey one more time. Trey's really good. I might still use him in the future for other books, but or maybe even if I do a reissue of the first book, I'll get Sam Bonnet to do that one. Hi, is it okay to fight? When your life's in danger? I was at a club. A man wanted to fight and said bad things to me, such as, I didn't want to go to jail and left without fighting. What do you think about situations like this? Oh, this is YOLO. Hi, YOLO. I don't know. I would need way more circumstance. I would need more circumstantial evidence than that, sir. I wanted to fight. Well, why did he want to fight? Because he was drunk? Then maybe you did him a favor. Like, dude, just go home, sleep it off. Did he feel up your chick? Did he try to swoop your wife? Did he like grab your wife's ass? It's funny when you ask guys like, when is it okay to fight? Like he'll get like different answers from every dude. Like ask Donovan Sharp that. When is it okay to fight? Let's go. As a practitioner of Kali, you defang the snake and you get away. And the time I fight is when I feel like my life is in danger. Defang the snake and get away. My wife will disagree with me, but like she thinks I'm conflict averse. I'm like, and not in my line of work. I'm not. But I do think things out. I don't drink anymore, so that sort of helps. I think a lot of guys when guys get drunk, they sort of their base personality comes out, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like when I used to drink, I used to sleep. I was happy, sleepy guy. I didn't get belligerent. I didn't like try to throw punches or anything like that. I didn't try to go do stupid, dangerous shit, right? I just wanted to enjoy myself, smile, and crash. That's why I always laugh when, what was it? Didn't Taylor Swift like cancel a concert because she was too drunk to like play the show? And I'm like, dude, what a fucking amateur you are. David Lee, I laugh in David Lee Roth. But you know, you can do, oh, hey, Ned's going to lay down. Wait, time to switch to the Ned Cam. There's the Ned Cam. Ned has paid a visit. Nice. Wait, we got it. Sorry, I got to focus in. Look, it's the return of the Ned Cam. You guys got more than you bargained for today. Ned Cam in effect. I would put a light over there, but he wouldn't come in because he wouldn't want to sleep right there. He's such a good boy. Look. Okay, so look at that dog. And now, wait, look at this. Tell me that it's not Ned. That's Ned right there. Oh my God, that's funny as fuck. Who was that guy? Was it Hassan who was like shock collaring his dog? Man, Ned's part of the show. I want him to come in here and take the heat off of me. Oh man. So when's it okay to fight? I would say there's only two real me personally. This is not like a scientific thing, but me personally, there's only two times that I would actually fight. One is my life's in danger. That goes without saying. Defang the snake, get away. That is Kali in a nutshell. And then just depends on disrespect. If somebody's like fucking with you and they just need a good ass whipping. And then only if that person's not fucked up, is not in some way so I remember saying about you sort of revert to your base personality when you're drunk. There's likes to fight guy. Likes to fight guy gets drunk, he gets belligerent and game on. And when likes to fight guy starts a fight and he's drunk, that guy usually, he's probably got some good and interesting stories, but he usually gets his ass kicked because, as I've said before, being the only sober guy in the club at 2 a.m. is like a superpower. One of those superpowers is everybody else is drunk. So if they start shit with you, good to go. There would have to be circumstances, right? The only time anybody's ever wanted to sort of fight me or throw punches at me is because they think they misunderstand something I said, or they think I'm some way, right? And they think that the only way that they're going to be able to sort of build themselves up with it, usually when guys start a fight, it's because the people around them, they're very attuned to social cues. They're very attuned to how other people around them, particularly in their peer group, perceive them. So if they take something as sort of a personal slight or whatever, it's like, what is it? If you meet a swordsman, draw your sword and don't recite poetry to a person who's not a guy who's not a poet. But I will say this is that one of the things I've said in the past when it comes to quote unquote violence, I guess, I'm not cut from the same cloth as Jordan Peterson is. Jordan Peterson he talks a good game. He's like, oh yeah, you think a dangerous man is dangerous? Wait till you see what a weak man can do. How profound. Problem is he and rightfully says that a man should have a capacity for violence. Yes, absolutely. It's also an attraction cue, attraction trigger for women. Right? The best way to settle a fight is if you're in the right, you kick the guy's ass and you leave. We should probably talk about violence at some point. Again, I've talked about it in the past. I have an essay. It's not on Substack. It's on the Rational Mail. It's called Why We Fight. That might be a good one for you. Actually, you know what? Sam, can you go dig up Why We Fight? It's off of the Rational Mail, and just give him that one. Sammy. Book review. Oh, hey, thanks. Sorry, Sam. I'm just now catching up to the text. Let's see. Another super chat for the hospital bill. Thank you. Every penny counts. Oh, Ned's leaving. No, don't go away. Come back in. He'll come back again. Take care of number one. We all need you healthy. Thank you very much. You know what?
Say my name.
Everybody who's yellow or above. 100%. This wisdom is from above. You are feeding his sheep. Sheep in search of a shepherd. At least you did this one sheep. Well, thank you very much. I would like to call you a man, but all right. HNY Rolo. How does the red pill reveal itself to the reveal itself? Relate, you mean, to the Rob Reiner? The Rob Reiner deletings. Oh, man. Jeez, what conspiracy theory would you like to talk about now? The son was clearly unhinged, and his parents consistently enabled him through. Yeah, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. Winner. Yeah, it's funny. Is I saw it's tragic, to be honest with you, but that's what happens when you coddle madness. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know that he had that sort of capacity. Just getting back really quickly about like the Jordan Peterson capacity for violence. Yeah, it is important for a guy to have a capacity for violence, but that capacity has to be displayed at some point. A sword in a sheath might as well not be anything if you don't take it out now and then. If you don't drop the fucking hammer now and then, you can have all the capacity you want until you go and you take it into the ring. Right. Even an Andrew Tate who got his ass handed to him by that guy with the pink glove. He was in the ring. I have the same level of respect for Andrew Tate for doing that as I do for BitBoy for going into the ring and doing the same fucking thing. I'm not in there. Fresh ain't in there. BitBoy went in and like as out of shape as Ben was, man. Dude, still, I don't know what he had to prove, but fucking A. He'd certainly proved it. Yeah. But by the way, so the same level, same respect I would give BitBoy, I would give to Andrew Tate for doing that. But because he's displaying a capacity for violence. And so if you take Kali or if you take, I don't care, whatever your martial art of choice is. Like I have a different kind of respect for Jim Sexton because I know he does like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. He's displaying that he's not actually going in there and beating the fuck out of somebody, right? But here's the thing is you could be Bruce Lee, right? You could have a black belt and God knows how many different forms of martial arts and stuff like that. And if you constantly back down and go, and even knowing that like if I could tear you apart limb from limb, right? I am Bruce fucking Lee and I can take you apart in a second, but bro, you're drunk, whatever. I'm not going to, namaste, have a good day, right? Peace be with you, my friend. Okay. But unless people know you're Bruce Lee and you could basically rip this guy limb from limb, you look like on the surface of it, you look like a coward because you didn't use it. At some point you have to use it. You have to unsheath the sword at some point. And that's the problem I have with Jordan Peterson. It's not enough to have a capacity for violence. You have to have a demonstrated capacity for violence. Let's just put that out there. As far as Rob Reiner is concerned, I mean, what the fuck? What did his kid have? Did he have like some neurological? I think his kid was autistic or something. I saw the pictures and it's funny. You see him and his wife, like Rob Reiner, his wife, and you see him like next to his kid, and his kid's just like Dylan Klebold, kind of that wild killer's eyes. It's funny. I heard Nick Fuentes say this recently. Physiognomy is real. Bitch, you stole that. You stole that from Royce. Physiognomy is real. What's physiognomy? Physiognomy is the idea and the concept, which I happen to believe in, I think is actually accurate, is the ability to look at somebody, and this research has sort of proven this true. You can look at somebody and their facial features and the way they look usually translate into what your expectations of their personality is going to be like, right? That's really kind of like the fundamental basis of what I call being congruency, right? But if you see a guy who's got like his eyes are like a little bit too close together, or those chicks who like, or the girls who have like, they look like that, what Scrat from Ice Age, they're a little bit out, even just slightly skewed. Or you have that kind of like, you can see the whites of their eyes like around like the whole eye, right? Or they constantly have dilated eyes. We instinctively as human beings know what those physiological cues are. That's physiognomy. Right? So if I'm walking down on, let's say, Fremont, right, in Las Vegas, and the homeless people are there, and they're not on their cell phones, and they're not on their earbuds, and they're just shouting to the freeway. And they're just my natural instinct is to get away, to get off to the side and don't make eye contact and everything. That impulse, that urge, that instinct is an instinct. It's an evolutionary adaptation. Okay. Our understanding of physiognomy and the way people look is also something that, and sometimes maybe not rightly so, but most times listen to your gut, and it's the people who don't that end up stabbed. So real men equals alimony loving masochists. Alimony loving. So are you saying that real men are actually being a real man is a form of findom? financial domination. What the flock? What the flock? I'll flip you for real. When I hear my partner, I know someone is cucked. Yes. By the way, I have never, ever heard Rob Henderson refer to anyone other than in the terms of partner. Like, whether not for him personally, but like when he's talking about, like, even if he's just talking theoretically, conceptually, he will always use the term partner. Check it out. Seriously, go look at it. Not Rob Henderson, sorry, Chris Williamson, not Robert, although Rob might too. What happened to Ned when he was ill or attacked? What happened to him? God. For $2, you want the $2 version? The $2 version is this: is that my wife was walking Ned and Anna, my other greyhound, my girl greyhound. And this is when we lived in Reno, and she was walking on the dog path in the neighborhood where we're at, and off of this lady's front yard rushes a gigantic Rottweiler, and it attacked Ned. It was going for Anna, but Ned's like the fight guy. And honestly, the Rottweiler, if it had just been the bites and stuff, it would have been okay. But the Rottweiler had about like good 70 pounds on Ned. And if you know anything about greyhounds, their bones are pretty thin to begin with because they're a racing breed. They're not a muscly bodybuilder breed. They're sprinters, right? They're track and field stars. And Ned defended himself and defended my wife. My wife actually broke her finger trying to separate the dogs, but it got in a fight with a Rottweiler that was off the leash. It launched itself from the homeowner's yard and just lunged at Ned, went after him. And so he had 6 surgeries, maybe 7 individual surgeries to work on it to save his leg. And we did. And the best part is that it cost us about $27,000, and we got a settlement for $30,000. So all of his medical bills was a wash. That was the success story. But Ned he doesn't have full function of that left front paw, because it kind of bends back a little bit. But for about a year and a half, we were doing reconditioning, and he had to go to hydrotherapy, which was actually kind of cute. But it was very, very traumatic. My wife and I will never split up because we have too many trauma bonds. That is definitely one of them. Hi Rolo, what do I do when people are constantly testing me? About what? Tried talking to them, but eventually had to break ties, distance. Well, testing you in what way? It's kind of like, I'll test you. You're going to ghost me. Sometimes testing you, it's iron sharpens iron, right? That's why I had that whole Come to Jesus show with James Sexton, right? Iron sharpens iron. I would rather do, by the way, people ask me about, well, why didn't you just take care of that with him off the screen? Well, first of all, it makes for a great show. That's one. And then second of all is sometimes that needs to happen as an example. Now, I was very conciliatory about it. I probably jumped off a little prematurely for sure, but I don't think unjustifiably. I think I probably could have called him up and say, hey, what do you fucking mean about this? But sometimes that has to take place publicly. And I really wish in some ways I could have those conversations with Myron or Fresh, but like they're very, well, not with Fresh, because I never have any beef with Fresh. But if I have some sort of anything critical to say, or somebody asks me something on this show, or I might be on somebody else's show and they say, hey, what do you think about when Myron said X, Y, and Z? I'm like, and I just give my honest opinion. It's like, hey man, what do you mean? You should have consulted with me before you said that on the show. I'm like, we'll talk about it now. Yeah. And if I'm in the wrong, I'm not too big a guy to apologize. I'm okay with that. But sometimes you need to have those conversations in public so everybody can see how men fucking relate with each other. I think one of the problems that most guys have, you want to talk about, oh, these guys don't know how to talk to girls. They don't know how to talk to guys either. I think that like when I'm ribbing them or something like that, or you're shit talking, on the basketball court, or you're shit talking like on, drinking at the bar or something like that. Guys being guys, right? we have pathologized that. We have like guys just being like boys will be boys. Like guys being guys is an aberration. Or at least the last, certainly last generation, and maybe the upcoming generation, and maybe some parts of the millennials. They think that like masculinity is an aberration. Like guys just naturally like defaulting to guy mode. Our natural proclivities. Oh, it's toxic masculinity. No, it's not. It's guys being guys. And I love it when like people give you shit and they think like you're bullying them. That's not bullying. I'm just fucking with you. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't do it. Like when I met Mike, the first time I met Mike, like we're from a different generation. Well, I guess he's Gen X too. So we're throwing the football down the hallway like dumb fucking teenagers. When we're going to do the first Access Vegas show at Sticky Paws. Take that shit, John Orlando, take that shit out in the parking lot, you guys. Okay, Dad. But we're fucking around with each other and like we'll give each other shit and like, hey, yeah. Like for instance, remember on the Halloween show when Mike came out with the long hair and he had with the beanie and the long hair because he wanted to be me for Halloween, right? Did I go, oh, that's bullying? You hurt my feelings. Do you really not like me? It's funny is I had to leave the studio to go take a piss and he was just coming out of the bathroom because he had just put it on and I looked at him and I go, you motherfucker. And we both got a good laugh out of that. But that's the difference. I know he's not trying to mock me or try to be a dick about it or try to like embarrass or shame me or anything. I thought it was funny as fuck, man. But this generation, Gen Z, certainly the latter half of the millennials, maybe even Gen Alpha, I don't know. Not only do they not know they lack the social skills to interact with women, they just don't even understand how men interact because they live their lives behind tablets. So yeah, definitely. I don't know. I would need to know like, I'd need to know more specifics. You don't have to do it now. You could text me or email me or whatever. I would need to know more specifics about that. Like, oh, people are testing you. Everybody's testing you. Stop being a little bitch. I'm going to go Wes Watson on you. What are your thoughts on CGA versus Andrew Wilson debate? I have gone into that ad infinitum. Okay, we want the $2 answer. CGA won. Based on what the question was. Okay, what was the question, Rolo? When Sean Kelly did that, and by the way, I didn't know he was going to do this. I know CGA is going to say, it was a setup. These guys don't talk to me, but I like CGA. I really wish he didn't feel the way he did about me or like some of these other guys. He wants to say, fuck the red pill. Well, great. That sounds great for your audience and everything, but it doesn't move the conversation along. Nobody learns anything from that. It's just fucking like, a pissing contest at that point. But I'm going to give CGA his props. I'll give him his flowers. He did win that debate. If the debate and this was the title of the show, is marriage worth it in 2025 or today or whatever it is marriage worth it? CGA just says, well, here's X, Y, this, and this. It's not worth it. I win. Bye. He won in the first 15 minutes of the show. Andrew lost because he wants to provide some solution, some sort of but that's not what the object of the debate was. That wasn't the goal. The goal was, is marriage worth it in the 2025, in the 21st century? Worth it. Okay. First of all, Sean Kelly probably should have defined worth it a little bit more definitively and objectively. And then maybe people would have understood that situation. But from a logical, if you're on debate team, CGA won. It wasn't, let's find a solution. It was, is it worth it? Okay. Now, if the title of the show said, we're looking for solutions to the marriage problem today, then game on, go for it. But you got to define those things. That's why when I see these, I don't know if I think this might be Andrew's new gig. What is it? Word War One debate or something like that. They're trying to turn this debate setting into this professional wrestling, which bravo. You might as well do it because that's all it is anyways. It's just this professional wrestling is just kayfabe, right? Go for it. Go ahead, but that's not debate. Destroy your opponent. It's like, I'm going to use logic to smash this folding chair over his head. That's not debate. That's entertainment. Definitely entertainment. Hold on a second. I'm at home, so I've got the oh, here you go.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
By the way, you guys can use this for, if I go on there, this is what I want you to use.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
And then I'm going to walk. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You suck. You suck more. No. You're a cuckold. You said vasectomy. It's all it is like ad homs. The whole thing. You suck more. CGA won. By the objectively, CGA won. See, Andrew, and I told him this when we were driving in my truck. I said, look, as long as debate is defined by personal destruction, then anything's fair game. And I told him this before he went on Andrew, or on whatever podcast, and then he would talk to the Snizzler. Do you like Sniz? What's her? Charlie? Chuck. That's the other thing, is like, rather than like addressing this woman across the table from him by her first name, it's like Chuck, Charlie, Chuck, right? Her real name is Chuck. There's nothing substantive that comes from that. There's nothing constructive that comes from that. You build your brand. Maybe that is constructive, but it's not debate. So if your definition of debate is just invectives and, destroying your opponent's reputation or politics of personal destruction, then everything then it is necessary. It is a wrestling match. And she came across the ring with a folding chair and smashed him over the head with it, which was, you're effectively a cuckold. Well, you look sniz like that now, and now it's Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Undertaker. It makes for great entertainment, but that's not debate, because it's not about a particular goal. It's about you suck. No, you suck worse. No, you suck. Let me tell you why you suck. Doesn't do anything. I don't care about solutions. I don't care, like the CGA and CGA and Andrew Wilson, the object, at least as far as Sean Kelly stated it, was not about who has the better solutions. It's, is this worth it? Andrew and CGA end up talking past each other because they both have different understandings of what the goal of that debate is. End of story. Now, if you put CGA and Andrew Wilson together on another debate forum, whatever, maybe it could be World War I, II, whatever it is. They're trying to say WWE. World War Expo, WWE. And the topic of the debate is who has the better idea of solving the marriage crisis or masculinity crisis or whatever the fuck it is. Anything's really super subjective. Then maybe Andrew would win. But that's not what the goal was. If you have ever been on debate team, if you've ever taken a college class in formal logic where you're doing Venn diagrams and by the way, there's more logical fallacies than just ad hom and straw man, okay? Or tu quoque K, right? Which is you just being argumentative, right? It's kind of like how attorneys like objection, Your Honor. That's really where it comes from, where that sort of back and forth in the attorney and attorney counter attorney, the prosecutor and the defense, they're essentially arguing factual points. They're not trying to say, you can have character witnesses to sort of break down the reputation of that person, or saying well, this, we can't really take this fact into evidence because this person is a liar, is a proven liar. Okay, that might be important, but the facts still remain. I have a smoking gun, Your Honor. You win. That's all you really need. If you want to win an argument, have the smoking gun. Have evidence that is irrefutable, and you'll win every time. On a goal-based debate, yes. Is this true? Is this not true? You win. Ding. Next case. It's as simple as that. Like, debate is like, it can be as boring as fuck, or it can be like this back and forth courtroom drama, like The Lincoln Lawyer, which is a good show. There you go. My thoughts. And now that I say, so here, by the way, that doesn't mean I don't like Andrew, and that doesn't mean I love CGA, or I'm trying to throw an olive branch to CGA or whatever. I disagree with both of them on a lot of other things too. But if you're going to ask me who I thought won that debate, I've got to give it to CGA, based on the objective goal of, is marriage worth it? Have you read Sapiens? Any takes from that? Is that where we get sapiosexuals from? No, I haven't. I think I have probably read excerpts from it, but I don't know. I wonder if Mike's read that. And brother, they were both retarded. I felt collectively dumber after listening to that whole thing. In fact, I don't even think I did. I think I got through about 3/4 of it. I'm like, this is just like, again, and to his credit, but maybe not to his credit, Andrew dragged CGA into his rhetoric, which is, what do you mean, big sky man in the sky? Like, CGA is an atheist. Okay. And doesn't mean his evidence isn't correct. But yeah, it's like, that's all it is it's like, my God can beat up your God. Whatever. Remember what I said. You can't prove a metaphysical argument with physical evidence. You can't prove a physical argument with metaphysical evidence. So, yeah. Like, what is it? I forget where I saw this. It was like I got this either in like logic, or maybe it was in comparative religion. I don't know. But I remember the illustration of this was like, if you're on the Titanic, or you're on a boat, right? And then there's 100 people on the boat, 10 people survive and they're in the lifeboat, and then 90 people go down to the bottom of the ocean. They all pray as hard as the next person did. Does that have any effect on who survived and who didn't? Or who's worthy of survival? I mean, this, dilemmas. It's basically logical dilemmas like that, but it pretty much comes down to Sky Daddy. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for bringing my Sky Daddy can kick your Sky Daddy's ass. It's like, I don't have time for. I've heard these arguments a million. Like I said, my dad has always been a skeptic and has always been sort of this humanist, secular humanism and skepticism. You want to know where I get my critical thinking capacity? It's certainly from my dad. Where I get my religious kind of spiritual, like, sensitivity, that comes from my mom. So I try to. I'm not like, I love how Andrew's new identity is Christian ethicist. Doesn't that like come with the term Christian? I'm going to be ethical. I should certainly hope so. Does that mean the other ones aren't? Maybe he's right. Actually, maybe they are. Are all atheists? They're all atheists until death. Yeah. Well, what did it say? God, do I have that? I can't show it because I'll get a copyright strike for it. But there's that part in Gladiator where this is attributed to Marcus Aurelius, but I don't think it's quite like literally word for word. I don't think it's verbatim, but it's Maximus says this, Commodus. He says, death smiles at us all, and all the man can do is smile back. And I'm like, fuck, dude, that's words for life. That I will. There is wisdom. Sometimes there is wisdom in secularism too. So definitely, the best you can do is smile back. And only in death does duty end. All right. So anyways, I think do I need to get into this anymore? Like this part right here. I think this is an abomination to me. I'm sorry, just as a Christ follower, Christ believing person, that doesn't seem legit to me. Neither did Nolafit, even to this day, still seems very disingenuous the whole time. Right. And then Jenna Jameson, and then like even like Erica Kirk, who everybody wants to say is, oh, she's just this poor Christian woman who had her husband torn away from her. Turns out there's a lot more going on in her story than there is. And honestly, I don't care. If you want to believe in that, if you're Allie Beth Stuckey, or if you're any of these other chicks who are like, evangelical pastors, but they're women, so they're not. They're women's ministers, women's ministry, but they're still preaching. They might have a different opinion of that. I don't really care. I mean, if that's your ride, then go ride it. But it seems very naive to me. And honestly, it's kind of insulting because I think that faith needs to be something that is personal to everybody, right? It needs to be something that's between you and the creator of you and the All Father, the creator of all Father, our Father, all Father, however you want to say it. And yes, that's my Nordic heritage coming out. But to me, that's kind of offensive. And I'll tell you that I'm maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to that now because I wrote The Rational Male Religion. And I think that book was before its time. I wrote that book because Pat Campbell really wanted me to finish that book. And I am happy to say he read it before he died. But I think when I was writing it, I was sort of a little bit, it's Rolodamus. No, I don't have a crystal ball or anything. Well, I have this. Does this count? I have this. This is my, but it only answers yes, no questions. So it's like, I'm kind of limited here. But no, it's just, again, pattern recognition. I'm pretty good at it. I think. I'm not batting 1,000, but I'm batting probably about 980 right now. And I think Nala Ray was one. She was the canary in the coal mine. And then you've got Jasmine Jafar. Jasmine Jafar probably is next. You got all these guys, all these girls that are coming out of OnlyFans, and that's the pipeline. That's the end result. And people want to say that Rollo, you shouldn't question their religion. You shouldn't question this because why? Because they're afraid that if I say that doesn't look legit, sorry, I'm going to use my critical thinking skills. Thanks, Pop, to say that looks like a grift to me. And Nala Ray, sure shit, was a grift. And Andrew Wilson was right about it too. I got to give him credit too because they kind of both said the same thing at the same time. I'm saying it now. In fact, I predicted this too. I was like, Lily Phillips will fall in line. Remember when she did that kind of pseudo documentary? It was about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. And this is when oh my God, they screwed 1,000 guys, or she fucked 100 guys. It was only 100 then, right? 100 guys in 24 hours. But now she's like crying. Like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Fucking crocodile tears. And, I looked up her net worth on Grok. Grok said that her net worth is like $3.5 million. I think it's probably more than that. Bonnie Blue I know for a fact, is $43 million. So maybe there's like a price point. Maybe there's like a value level where it's like, you know what? I'm making 43 million. Do I need to come to Jesus? No. Give it another year. If you're Lily Phillips, you go, having a bad year. It's like in that video, I'm having a bad year. Time to go. Boom. Same thing with Nala Fit. Boom. Time to go. People want to ask me, like, when I talk about the epiphany phase, if you've read any of my books, this really kind of translates, it really dovetails, locks in really good with what I call the epiphany phase, which is that after a certain point in like the progression of the maturation of a woman, like when she gets to be like 18 to 28, that's the hoe phase, right? That's what I call the party years. And then 28, 29, 30, that's when she goes into the epiphany phase, or then the realization phase, is that the lights are going to come on at the club. And she's not going to be as competitive in the sexual marketplace as she used to be when she was at the top of her game at 23. Yes, that does imply that there is a wall, but the wall is not physical. The wall is mental. or it starts in mental anyways. There are women who are 23 years old and grossly overweight, and they've already hit the wall. So it's not an age thing. It's not even so much a beauty thing as it is an age thing. I mean, there's a certain factor. You have two kids, 3 kids from 2 different fathers, and you're 27 years old. Guess what? You've hit the wall way early. If you are 40 years old and your name is Kindly Myers, you have no kids and you have a rocking body at freaking 40 years old, congratulations. You've postponed that wall a little bit, but only here, not here. The 43-year-old Kindly Myers cannot compete with the 23-year-old Kindly Myers. It's just a simple facts, simple logistics. She could compete very well with the competition right now, for sure, but not when she was in her prime. Not when she was racing F1 cars and she was 30 years old, right? So that's really the principle of the wall. And I think people like either get too happy or too pissed off when I talk about the wall, but it's not about the wall. It's the epiphany phase, which is the realization phase. The realization phase is I got to start living differently because I can't compete at the same level that I did before. That's one advantage, or I should say one disadvantage that women have when it comes to the sexual marketplace. Incels think that women are, well, it doesn't matter because Lily Phillips is going to get wiped out by, some youth pastor somewhere, right? And she's going to live happily ever after. We don't know that. Is she going to hit the wall? She probably already is. She's probably at that wall right now. I don't know how old she is. Can somebody find me how old Lily Phillips is? Maybe she's premature. Maybe she just wants to tap out before anybody else does. Go out on top. Go out on her prime. I mean, she doesn't want to be like Brett Favre. She doesn't want to be like Tom Brady. He should have quit 4 years ago. That might be the case, but or it might be sincere. And I always have whenever I talk about the epiphany phase, that's usually the point at which women realize that they have to start living in a different way, and which means they have to reprioritize the things that they need out of a guy or they want out of life. Usually this is when the long-term security interests and need provision, protection, and parental investment kicks in for a woman. It's usually, if you can couch that in religiosity, then you get Lily Phillips, then you get Nala Ray, then you get Jenna Jameson. That's I need to get right with God. And then now all the guys that they date, they're kind of their id, right? Their hedonistic, childlike part of their brain still wants to fuck the hot guy in the foam cannon party in Cancun on spring break. But she knows, her ego says, I can't always do that. We need to we got to think ahead. We got to be a little bit more mature here. We can't just do that. Well, then they the id and the ego make a bargain. Well, if I'm going to get with this guy who's not as exciting and not as fun and not as sexually interesting as this guy, he's got to have a lot of value added. That was Charlie Kirk, by the way. If you look at the guys that Eric Kirk dated before Charlie came on the scene, just saying. It's a lot like this. Where did it go? Not my type. There it is.
32, and I feel like I'm officially in that phase where everyone around me is either getting married, having their second kid, or buying a house in the suburbs. I've been seeing this guy for about 4 months. He's genuinely a good man. He shows up for me. He plans actual dates. He's stable. He's kind. He wants a real future. Issue is, he's not my type at all. I keep waiting for that spark, that I can't keep my hands off you feeling. And it's just not hitting.
Okay, so what this is this? She's reading an email from a listener or something like that for their podcast. But what she's reading is a conversation. This is an argument that this woman is having with herself. It's an internal argument. And the two participants in that argument are her id and her ego. Her id says, I don't get the butterflies. I don't get it. He's not my type, right? We got to find some sort of logical way to wipe all this off. He's not my type. I don't really like him that much. I don't want to fuck him is what it is. He's so good to me. He's emotionally available. He's everything that I've always said that I'm looking for in a guy, but he's not hot.
The butterflies. I don't feel that magnetic pull I felt with past guys. But here's the kicker.
Magnetic pull from the guys who are hot with six-pack abs, 6 feet tall, six-pack abs. 12-inch dicks. Yeah, that's the magnet. Here's the magnetic pull.
The guys who gave me that spark were in the same ones who gave me anxiety, mixed signals, and heartbreak. So now I'm torn between the guy who is emotionally safe and the part of me that still wants passion.
Okay, the part of you that still wants passion is your id. The part of you that needs long-term security, that realizes you're 32 years old and you need to find a guy before the lights come on at the club, that's your ego. That's when women get to this point, they get to the epiphany phase. And this, I'm going to say this right now. This is exactly where Lily Phillips was. This is exactly where Nala Ray was. This is exactly where, well, certainly Erica Kirk, right? This is like Erica Kirk strikes me as if Charlie Kirk hadn't been Charlie Kirk, if he hadn't been like so popular, if he hadn't been who he was, and does a USA swimsuit, USA Miss USA pageant winner get with a guy that looks like Charlie Kirk? I'm thinking no.
Can attraction actually grow? Or am I trying to convince myself because I'm 32, everyone else has settled down, and I'm scared of missing my chance with someone who's objectively great for me? I don't want to hurt him, and I don't.
Objectively great doesn't satisfy the emotional roller coaster. So you've got the id, the hedonistic part. The id wants to go back to when she's 32. She wants to go back to when she was 22. She wants to go back to the foam cannon party in Cancun on spring break. I was drunk, he was cute, and one thing led to another. That's what the id wants. The id wants that spark. It wants that passion. But you know what? The guy she met in the foam cannon party has no prospect. He's not a good prospect for long-term security. And those guys are not as forthcoming as they used to be because she has hit the proverbial wall. Again, she still might be hot, but the wall starts here. The 32-year-old version of her cannot compete with the 22-year-old version of her, and the 22-year-old version of her wants the spark.
I don't want to lie to myself either. What do I do?
Well, apparently you bring it up on a podcast somewhere is what you do and try to hash it out there. Hey, thank you very much, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Since you and Kyle are a few shows ago mentioned how few men will ever sprint. I've added sprints to the end of my workouts and I'm loving the results. Hope you have a speedy recovery. Rolo, the Emperor protects. Wait, what's the sign of the Aquila? Strength and honor. I've had more Space Marine quotes thrown at me in the last 2 weeks than I've ever had in my life. Yeah, sprints are great, man. Are you kidding? Get yourself a 2-year-old greyhound and you will suddenly become a sprinter. Anna can still run with the best of them. I can't run right now for obvious reasons, but once I'm able to, I can still barely keep up with her. I have tossed out the idea of getting me one of those electric skateboards that RG3 has. You guys know who RG3 is? He's from the crypto community. Big winner, and he's a good friend of Miguel's. He's a good friend of mine too. He's great. Pirate. He's a pirate. I'm a pirate. He's a pirate. But he has his thing is longboarding. And like skateboarding, but longboards, right? And except he's got an electric one, and he sent me hey, you should get this one. You should get this one. We should go longboarding. I'm like, okay. But I thought it would be great to get one of those and then then run with Anna. Although she'd probably be going 40 miles an hour, and I don't know if I could control it. Or get one of those one wheels. Have you guys seen those? Those one wheel, and it's a board that the wheel goes through it. That looks freaking cool. I would probably die on that, but it would be a good way to go. But I really needed to get some sort of scooter or some way to keep up with her because I know she can do more and I want her to be able to be fully exercised and everything. And I just don't feel like I'm going to be able to do that. Certainly not until July. So, but yeah, sprinting is great. Sprinting is, I didn't realize this, but it is part of HIIT training, HIIT, high intensity interval training. I started doing it back in Reno, and one of the gyms or the fitness clubs, but one of the clubs that I worked out at had a track, an indoor track, a running track. And so I started doing sprints on there because people told me it was great. And so I go and I run, you know, go around the corners and they sprint, and I turn around and they sprint like on the straightaways and stuff like that. And it was pretty good. I got pretty damn good at it. And that's before I had Anna. But Anna is my cardio trainer. Anna's my greyhound, not some chick. Andrew Wilson says all she's got to do is convert to Orthodox Christianity. Yeah, of course. And she's ready for a covenant marriage. CGA had no idea what he was talking about. Let's get a ring and the gentleman, line up the gentleman. Yeah, she can go into the. I put this on Twitter. I do this occasionally. It's like, what is it like? Christianity is where whores go to retire, right? And I go, well, you know, they're forgiven and blah 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 blah. And it's like, again, it's like just me like saying you need, like, for me to go and even just like sort of sardonically point out the fact that you're being kind of naive and stupid and undiscerning and not critical and not wary and not I don't know, cautious, I guess, about grifters coming into your religion and everything. Because the thing is they're going to use your naivete to build their brands, their new brands. That's just where we are right now. Well, God won't let that happen. Letting it happen with Nala. It's letting it happen with TPUSA right now. Yeah. Like there's a certain amount of spirituality that I have, and I will be the first one to talk to anybody about it. You want to talk about it privately, I'm okay with that. But like, aren't you the rational male? Yeah, I am. That's a blessing and a curse. But I think that when it comes to religion, like I was going to say, is like I'm not only do I find Lily Phillips offensive, I'm wondering why people don't. What I find more offensive is the people who don't. And that's not just about Christianity. I remember when I was writing, I was doing the research for religion. I was talking to Abu American, Craig. He was my consult guy for Islam, and taught me a lot. I got his Quran and gave me a Quran. And by the way, there's nothing in there about 72 virgins in heaven. I still can't find it. But the thing is like for lack of a better term, for as militant as Islam can be, and as radicalized as Islam has the potential for, you would think that a lot more Muslim men would be very offended by Andrew Tate cosplaying a Muslim, or Sneeko cosplaying a Muslim, or Brittany Renner cosplaying a Muslim. This is when I look at Lily Phillips, she's cosplaying a Christian. Same thing as Nala Ray, same thing as Jenna Jameson. Until I can see otherwise, until you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to go be silent over here in this part of the church. I'm not going to try to build a brand. I'm going to whatever. Then you're cosplaying. You're just basically using your like Christfluencers, right? You're just using your religion is funnel marketing. You're not using my religion for that. I'll be the first one to step up and say, fuck that. Defender of the faith, whatever that is. No. So, and I would think that a religion like Islam, who would like basically gun down with the guys in Charlie Hebdo for drawing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, like they'll go to that extreme, but you guys won't like go and like rebuke Tate and Sneeko. Come on, man. Where's this Muslim masculinity that I keep hearing about? They're cosplaying, or certainly Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner was in a burqa inside of her car, right? Remember that? She's a burqa, I guess. I don't know what the hell. Maybe a niqab. And now she looks like Jackie Brown. Big old fucking fro and everything. She's cosplaying, and she's mocking your religion. And Lily Phillips mocking my religion too. Are you not? Like, it takes a lot to offend me. It really does. A lot of shit just rolls off of me, especially when people give me shit. You're the guy that said vasectomy. Okay, whatever. You're an idiot. Yeah, you're the kid at the end of the circle in the telephone game, but whatever. You're a bot. Aren't you a Jew? Well, thanks, Nick Fuentes and all your bot army. It doesn't offend me. I don't give a shit. If anything, I'd lean into that because I think it's hilarious. But why put up with that? Why deal with that? There's going to be another one. Another domino will fall before the end of the year. It'll probably be like Bonnie Blue, or like Bonnie Blue will see how Bonnie Blue will watch Lily Phillips and go, oh man, you're making so much more money at doing the Christian thing. I'm going to go do it now too. I'm going to make one more observation here before I move on. I remember, I think it was 2018, 2019, when Roosh V decided that he was done with the red pill and he was going to go live some monastic life somewhere in the back country of, I don't know, Maryland. Where is he now? I have no idea. West Virginia. And he decided to return to his Eastern Orthodox religion, and grew his hair out and grew his beard out and looked kind of like the Unabomber. But I will give him credit. He was more sincere in his conversion than Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Lily Phillips, Nala Ray, whatever. You know why? Because the first thing he did was he canceled and took all of his old material, all of his books off of Amazon. Everything he'd ever done, all the way back to A Dead Bat in Paraguay. If you have his books in print, you have a collector's item, my friend. That was the first thing he did. And I don't know, I mean, he might be active now, I don't know, but I haven't heard anything from Roosh since then. Was he sincere in his conversion to whatever he is? I don't know, but it sure looks like it. Sure sounds like it. The appearance makes me think it was sincere. He's not cosplaying it, although it's a little weird to me, but Lily Phillips, cosplay. Nala Ray, cosplay. And let me tell you something right now. I will guarantee you that the next interview that Michael Knowles does is going to be with Lily Phillips. And I want to point out that Michael Knowles is now the Caesar Flickerman of all this whole scene. If you know who Caesar Flickerman is, he was the announcer, the talk show host guy from the Hunger Games, from Catching Fire, right? Was it the second one? Yeah. That's Caesar Flickerman. That's who he is. He even looks and has the mannerisms of Caesar Flickerman. Hey, that sounds great, guys. Like if you listen to the character of Caesar Flickerman in those movies, he is all brand. Nothing comes out of his mouth that isn't on brand. He's a puppet. He might as well be AI. That is Michael Knowles. And as soon as some new red meat appears on the scene, he is right there, Johnny, on the fucking spot. And I will guarantee you that is what's going to happen with Lily Phillips. Her next thing is going to be all about, or his next thing is going to be all about Lily Phillips. Guaranteed. Money on the table. You think he's going to pass that up? No. Let's see. What kind of beta male women pedestalizing dudes on the board thought was a good idea to vote a recent widow to lead the TPUSA? Well, it's because Charlie had his throat shot out and they still don't know what to do about it. In fact, they don't care. Charlie's technically a martyr, but they've completely screwed the pooch on really making him into something of a firebrand, or posthumously, of course. They really screwed. They, as you might guess, because they're stupid. Most of the people at those things are stupid. I'm going to go full Aaron Clary on you. It's easier to understand if you just go, they're stupid. They're retards. That's not to say that let me point something else out here. That another thing. Like I said before, my father's told me that just because you're a Christian doesn't excuse you from critical thinking. 100% agree. But most people are dumb. This is Scott Adams. The wisdom of Scott Adams. Most people are idiots, including myself. Like, we're ignorant of things. The people you think have the most control are usually the people who are flying by the seat of their pants. Right? They make it look easy because you don't know how to do it. That's the same thing. It's like, so, but the other thing is I've said this in the past. I said this in the fourth book in religion, is that, and my wife actually likes this quote. you can't judge a religion by the basis. You can't judge the foundation, the validity, I don't know, the quality, the value, the quality of a religion by the people who worship it, the people who are the worshipers, the people who are the organizers, right? I think Christianity has a lot to offer the human race, right? But don't base your opinion of the religion on the people who are, are the adherents of that religion. Base it on the merits of what the principles are in the founding. Like if I was going to say, well, I'm going to do some comparative religions, you take people out of it and then go down to what are the pillars, what are the things, what are the foundations of this religion, what are the fundamentals of this religion, and then base your opinion on it that way. But don't base it on the people, because people are flawed. People are, like I said, people are fucking idiots. Do you think we need great philosophers, thinkers to guide our society through the fast-paced technological advancements of the 21st century? Only insofar as it keeps us grounded. If that makes any sense? Because I think one of the things about, like, okay, so you're going to run into what's called the Jurassic Park dilemma. Like, you get so busy figuring out how to do something that you don't really realize if you ought to do, like, should you be doing that? I think that's where, like when we had OnlyFans is a really great example of that, right? Spent so much time going, oh man, we're going to democratize strippers or sexuality. Any girl can make a shit ton of money off of, showing off her asshole. And by the way, just to let you know, another announcement is the documentary that I did with Mike, which is called OnlyFans, is finally available. It is lonelyfansseries.com. lonelyfansseries.com. And it's finally out. You got to pay $6 for it. I think it's I think the reason why they couldn't find distribution for it, they couldn't get it on Netflix. They don't have the distribution for it, so they're just distributing it themselves. And it's been 2 years in the making, so it's finally out. So if you want to see yours truly and Mike on there from 2 years ago, we look so young. But one of the things Mike said, like, you've got these women who can be, well, what do you say? They could be computer programmers. They can be philosophers. They could be thinkers. They could be whatever. They could be nurses. They could be whatever. Sky's the limit, baby. What do they choose to be? Sell their pictures of their butthole for $3,000 or $300,000 a month on OnlyFans. Do they all make that? No, but that doesn't matter. That's the thing that gets me, is like, people go, the average OnlyFans creator only makes $120 a month, so yada, yada, yada. Well, if one chick makes $100 a month and the chick who is at the top makes, is it China? I forgot her name is. Anyways, whoever the top earner is makes, 50 million a month? Yeah, the mean average works out to being about that. But that's not what matters. It's the potential. That if I just do this, if I do that, what's that one girl who was like 17 and then she just turned 18 and then she started her OnlyFans and she made like $2 million in the first like 24 hours or like first week of her being on there. I forget the chick's name. She's like this child star or something. She had an influencer brand, and the moment she turned 18, she decided to go and to be super sexual and do her OnlyFans, and she literally made $2 million within the first, I don't know, what, week or so that she was on. Maybe it was day, I don't know. $2 million. So when when women see that, like young women see that and they go, that bitch is nothing, man, I'm better looking than her. It doesn't matter if the average is $120 a month. The potential is, I'm fucking doing that. Why would I go to nursing school when I have the potential to show my bunghole off and then people will pay for it? So it's not about the actualizing that money. It's about the potential to actualize that money. It's gambling. It's a gambling addiction is basically what it is. Do we need philosophers and thinkers? Yeah, well, we always will. And that's a funny you should say that. I was just thinking about this recently, especially when you talk about like AI. I've yet to see AI be really, truly creative. It's using, like, somebody was showing me the difference between the responses of, like, when we invaded Venezuela, right? We invaded Venezuela, and the guy went and asked some questions about Venezuela, and was it an illegal action for the United States to go in and spirit away Maduro, right? If you ask ChatGPT and Grok that exact same question, you will get two completely different answers. So don't think that AI isn't compromised. It's who's putting it in there. I think the bigger threat of AI is not losing your jobs. I think it's retconning the truth, because I'm already seeing this happen. You know, when I'm in some sort of like Twitter argument or something like that, I always see somebody go, "Grok, is this true?" And then it'll rattle off whatever, as if Grok is like the arbitrator of what is true and what is not. And especially if you ask it like something about like something that is unflattering to female nature, it will never give you any kind of objective, answer to that. And rightly so, because that's the way it was programmed by people who are woke or people who want to, that you're never going to get an unvarnished AI, because it's always going to, and even if it is, it's still going to adopt the responses of what are the most popular responses. Right. So if everybody says, women are wonderful, it's going to say, well, women are wonderful. If more people say women are wonderful rather than red pill, wonderful, wins, you win every time. It's an auto win. So it's not about AI taking people's jobs. It's about AI defining our future truth for us. And we're already seeing that happen, just like live in real time, where we're saying, is Venezuela an illegal action or a non-illegal or a legal action? And both of them give you different responses. So you can see who was programming who. And now the AI is programming you. Remember, alpha fucks equals desire, beta bucks, and necessity. Yeah, thank you. All right then. I think that's that. Okay, I got one more thing I got to show you guys. Now, this was the this will be the last thing, because I'm going to tap out at 3. I have this one video, and this is is that it? Hold on a second. Let's see if I have it here. I might have to re-download it. Oh, maybe it's in there. Here we go. Okay, I actually have 2 things to show you. Let's load up. The scientific lie that damaged generations of, and not just one, generations of.
Good Idea Creations, home of independent book publisher Hungry Minds, for supporting PBS. There's a really powerful and sometimes dangerous idea that's taken root in pop culture. The idea of the alpha male. For decades, the idea of the all-powerful alpha male has dominated media. We've been told that in animals and in human society, the toughest,
it is evolutional,
the most aggressive top dog gets the power, the resources, the mates.
Biological.
Told to stop being beta, to be the fearless leader of the pack. Take the red pill and you can be an alpha too.
All right. No one has ever said, take the red pill and you'll be an alpha. So let's stop here real quick. Okay, that's fallacy number. That's misinformation number 1. Okay. Now, if you're Andrew Tate or whatever, you think, I understand why people think that way. And so I can't be like too hypercritical of this, because it's been bastardized. If you've read my new book, Reignite, go get it on Amazon. There's a whole section in there where I go back into what is alpha, what is not. And in fact, it's funny because I cover exactly what they go over in this video in the book. So go get it. It's wait, hold on. Where is it? Available today. Go pick it up at Amazon. And Audible too, by the way. You can now get it at Audible. Wait, let's read. Oh, here it is. There you go, right there. That's the QR code if you would like to pick it up. But I go into the origin of alpha. I did in the first book. I've been covering this since the So Suave days. And that's how old this conversation is. And every now and then it jumps back up again and I have to like smash it back down. Oops.
They respond to is me.
The alpha male is an idea that was born in real studies of animal behavior and biology in the lives and conflicts of social animals. Few scientific concepts have been so thoroughly absorbed by popular culture, but this idea has been so hugely misinterpreted and disconnected from what the science actually says, which is part of why I, as a biologist and as a man, want to address it.
Just slip that in there.
Is the real story of how animals wield power and influence and how social success actually plays out in the animal kingdom, even in our closest relatives, can teach us a lot about how to be better humans. But to do that, we have to find the truth. This is the real science of alphas.
All right, you got that. The real science of alpha. Here we go.
Understand what happened here, we have to go back here. The roots of the whole alpha idea start in the early 1900s, and this young Norwegian scientist, Thorleif Skjelderup Ebbe, that might be the most Norwegian name ever. Anyway, when he's like 9 or 10 years old, he starts doing scientific observations of his pet chickens, and he realizes that there's politics happening in a chicken coop. He writes a paper about how some chickens always peck certain other chickens, and certain other chickens are always just the ones getting pecked. There was a social order where different chickens ranked one above the other according to status, what scientists call a dominance hierarchy. If you've ever heard someone use the term pecking order, this is the origin of that term. So you can only have a hierarchy, this ranking of status, in animals that live in groups and are social. So it's worth having a short detour to ask, why are some animals social in the first place? Animals can group together for a lot of different reasons that aren't necessarily social. Zebras and wildebeest might get together, but that's not because they're being social with each other. It's just that that's where the grass is. So when does a group of animals become social? For that to happen, the individuals in a species who are selfish and non-social, they have to end up doing worse than the individuals who cooperate. Maybe working together helps them collect more resources. Maybe it's being better able to defend each other against predators. But in the end, natural selection decides that cooperating and being social is an advantage.
This is also, you can learn about this in a subject, concept called kin altruism. So good stopping point right there. But just to let you guys know, there's a reason why insects are single-mindedly collective and higher order organisms have a little bit more complexity.
Social animals reproduce more, and so that species becomes more social. Not quite every social animal creates one of those ladders of social status, a dominance hierarchy, but they are surprisingly widespread. From puppies to meerkats to geese, they're everywhere. But there was one special animal that made the idea of top dog famous. So in the 1940s, this Swiss scientist named Rudolf Schenkel wants to understand more about wolf social lives.
Okay, once again, Rudolf Schenkel. I've talked about this. I've written about this guy God knows how many times. I don't know if you guys remember when Mike and I were doing the debunking video of, what was that chick's name? Mooncat. When Mooncat was talking about, oh, well, these guys don't know what alpha, it's all about terminology. It's all like semantics, it's splitting hairs, right? They call themselves alphas. So but because we use the term alpha means wolf. We think we're wolves. We think we're silverback gorillas, right? We think we're, if you fill in the fucking blank, right? Doesn't matter. It's like the idea is to ridicule the idea of any kind of like dominant masculinity. That's what this is an effort in. And I want to also point this out before we continue anymore, is that that's what this video is meant to establish. It's meant to reinforce the idea of egalitarianism versus empiricism, seeing what's happening like live in the real. Well, what gets me is like, I love it when we run through Rudolf Schenker right there. Sorry, that's the wrong guy. Rudolf as being the originator of the alpha male term, the word alpha male, But we never want to talk about how dominance hierarchies demand that there is a higher male. There's a king, there's the alpha in the troop of monkeys, the alpha in the wolves, the alpha in the dogs. I mean, name the species, name the social animal species, and you're always going to see a dominance hierarchy. They can't deny that, but they would rather say that the reason why we're not is not because of etymological reasons or empirical, like studyable, researchable reasons. It's ideology. It's this idea that egalitarianism is the natural order, which, by the way, is a naturalistic fallacy, that anything that is natural must necessarily be good. So that's really where this is coming from. It's meant to it's meant to disrupt the idea of the quote unquote alpha male, because lesser males, lesser alphas, lesser like beta males, whatever, would rather collectively rule over their genetic superiors. And so human beings, being a social animal, have to create videos like this to reinforce that idea. It's a form of sexual competition, an intrasexual competition. This video literally is a form of intrasexual competition. Let's continue.
Like, how does a wolf pack even work? The problem is, in the 1940s, wolves are basically extinct in the wild. Why? If you guessed because we killed them, you are right. The only wolves that Schenkel can find are at the zoo.
We killed them. Evil humans.
In Basel, Switzerland. So he spends years watching these wolves, and in 1947 writes this paper. On page 11, he writes that the top male and top female pair defend their social position by incessant control and repression of all types of competition within the same sex. And right here, in this handwritten note, he calls them alpha animals. This is it. This is where the concept of alpha males and alpha females is born. I have to say, it's very cool to find like the actual paper where someone writes something down like this for the first time. But it wasn't until 20 or so years later that the term alpha male enters popular culture, thanks to this best-selling book, The Wolf, by this guy.
My name is Dave Meach. I've been studying wolves since 1958. So Schenkel just figured, well, a pack is a bunch of wolves. And when I published my 1970 book, which ended up being a bestseller, in that book, I cited his studies and indicated that the top-ranking member of a pack was an alpha male and the top-ranking female was the alpha female. So I have been either credited or blamed for perhaps promoting that idea.
Now, Meach's book contains basically everything we knew about wolves at that time.
So the operative here isn't what we're calling them. It's not about whether or not we gave, like we could have called them, high value wolves, high value male wolf, high value female wolf. We could say the same thing, right? So when you're like, there are wolves that are at the top of the dominance hierarchy. Alpha was just a designation. It was just, again, it's a term that is used as an abstraction, which is exactly how the red pill uses it, as an abstraction. Weird looking dude. That's what it is. There's nothing more. Now, here's the thing is, just because they use that term, this guy, the Friedrich Rudolf Schenker uses that that term for his his wolf studies. Does that then deny that there is one top wolf, male wolf, and one top female wolf? No matter what you call them. Is he incorrect in that? Or you just don't like the way it's termed? Is it just the tone?
Because it's so popular, it launches the alpha male concept into culture. And that idea, the alpha male, it lands in this world that's full of industry, corporate ladders, sports, political drama, military conflict, and a generation who had very loudly been questioning all of those hierarchies.
Imagine that. I'd also point out that he's not going to include this, but it also found its way into feminism. Alpha female, right? You notice this is like, whenever I see these critiques on like using the term alpha, there's never, and like these are the same guys. I'm speculating here, so let me spitball here a little bit. These are the same guys, like same people who will say, the same men, anyways. I don't say women, but certainly same men who want to deny the idea, the concept of the alpha male, or maybe they just don't like the term, right? But the concept. There's no such thing as an alpha male. The guy who he's about to say this, the guy who came up with alpha male, he even went back on it and said it's not really true. So therefore, you have to, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. It's stupid. The logic doesn't follow because you're just talking about terms. You're splitting hairs. It's just semantics at that point. They just don't like the idea that there's a dominance hierarchy amongst human beings. That's all. They would rather say that, well, human beings are actually egalitarian, which we're going to debunk here in a second. But what gets me is these are the same guys that if a woman goes to, I don't know, women in film or cinema, like it was Sydney Sweeney and Jamie Lee Curtis go to some award ceremony about women in film, and they claim to be alpha females. They're like, oh, yes, alpha female. Yeah, standing ovation for the alpha female. Yes, give her flowers, give her money, the alpha female. If there's no alpha male, then how is there an alpha female? Because you're saying that it doesn't exist. Alpha female, alpha also found its way into feminism too. But they're not going to point that out because they want to tear down you. They want to attack masculinity. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's intrasexual competition amongst men. So what's the best way? What's the best way for a lesser man, a beta male, to take down an alpha? It's to disqualify that alpha from being an alpha. You think you're an alpha, but there's no such thing as an alpha, so therefore you can't be one. You're just like the rest of us. That's what it is. So it boils down to the idea that there is no such thing as a dominance hierarchy in human beings is ridiculous. But let's keep going here.
As the alpha male concept begins to get attention, there was just one problem. Schenkel's whole idea of alpha wolves dominating by force and conflict was fundamentally flawed.
Rudolf Schenkel knew they lived in packs but didn't know what a pack was. So he put a bunch of wolves from various zoos and captive situations together and made his own artificial pack, thinking it was an actual pack like you'd find in the wild, which it wasn't.
But around this time, wild wolf populations are starting to recover. So Meach continues observing wild wolves and discovers something that completely flips the script.
It became apparent to me that a wolf pack was actually a family. That idea of wolves fighting to get to the top of a dominance hierarchy was actually not valid.
This was a huge shift in our understanding of wolves.
Are there still high value wolves? Is there still a dominance? Is the dominance hierarchy theory gone, or is it the fact that he's not observing it, or maybe he's interpreting it in a different way? Well, these wolves were in captivity, and so therefore so why would they form dominance hierarchies in captivity, but not in the wild? And again, he's like, well, they're a family. So what, they all take a vote? They all take a vote and say, we're going to go take down hey, Roy, John, you want to go take down that caribou? Nah, I'm not feeling it today, guys. All right.
A pack is not a hierarchy of dominance and conflict and power struggles. Wolf packs are simply families, and the alpha male and female are just the parents. Throwing a bunch of unrelated wolves together.
Yeah, but they're still the dominant. They're still the progenitors. They're still at the top of the rank. Is there still a ranking, or is there not a ranking?
Together in a cage is basically the wolf equivalent of prison culture.
Okay, so here's prison culture. So there's a dominance hierarchy in prison, but there's not one out in the wild. So I would be, it's funny is I would be more fascinated to find out why that would happen in prison and not in the wild. If indeed that's the case. Now I'm gonna completely destroy this when he gets to bonobos, but we'll continue here in just a second. But the idea that there isn't some sort of chain of command, some sort of dominance hierarchy. As I've said before, I just got that question about what Helen Andrews, right? People are saying about there's a way that women, like females, organize society, and there's a way that men organize society. So let's look at females. Females is exactly what I was saying. Egalitarianism, emotionalism. These are really the fundamentals of gynocentrism, but again, it's a belief set. So emotionalism, egalitarianism, social constructionism, and the blank slate. So really what this video is about, it's not about wolves. It's about we need to reinforce, we need to go back to an egalitarian standard. Women got it right. We need to have communitarianism. We need to have everybody, it's organizing society in the round, which we don't actually do because human beings are a lot more like bonobos, right? A lot more like primates than we are like wolves, okay? But what he's trying to do is basically trying to delegitimize and to disqualify the idea of the alpha male and he's not the first one to try to do that. Kevin Samuels successfully did this actually, because everybody thought alpha male was cringe back in the day, and maybe still do. So rather than use the term alpha, he started calling it high value man. Remember when I got all run up the flagpole for Destiny and Sneeko? I'm like, he doesn't know what a high value man is. And I just said, look, a high value man is a guy that other men want to be and other women want to fuck. And as I said, I gave you the fishing village in Chile example. Like there's a guy there's Jose in the fishing village in Chile, and he's the alpha male in Chile in that it's a fishing village because he happens to own a pickup truck and no other dudes do. He's the top of the heap. He can do things that nobody else can do because he just has that pickup truck. Catches more fish, delivers more fish, does his own thing. He's the top dog. He is the top G in the fishing village in Chile. He ain't jack shit in Brickell. Guys with rappers, NBA, athletes, whatever, guys, flying girls out for yacht parties. Those guys are the top. They're way above Jose. But put Jose in his natural, take him out of captivity, put him into the fishing village, and he's the shit there. But the same system works. He's the top G in the fishing village in Chile because he's the one with the pickup truck. He's the one who saved his shekels and put it together, right? He's the one who, does that mean he's doing it through, like dominance can be expressed not just through violence. Dominance can be expressed through resources. Dominance can be expressed through territory. Dominance can be expressed through access to preferably virgin women. Those are the three things that define a powerful, high-value guy throughout history. Access to resources, territory, and then access to preferably virgin women, right? Or to a lot of women, exclusively, that are exclusive to him. He's the chief of the tribe. He gets to bang more chicks. He's the best fighter in the tribe. He's the champion of the tribes. He gets not quite as many as the chief, but he gets a few more. All the way down to one guy who doesn't get shit. There is a dominance hierarchy. That's why we have the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and all the way on down to the janitor. And that's why we have the general, the admiral, all the way down to the private. That's a hierarchy. Not only it's a hierarchy of dominance, it's a hierarchy of responsibility too. These are the things that these guys will not talk about because they're fixated on tearing down this macho hierarchy thing. If you guys would just like cooperate and be more egalitarian, we could all just get along.
So, of course they used aggression and violence to gain dominance. I don't think we would look at human prisons and say, well, that's what we want to model human nature off of, right?
Why not? Why not? Instead of being ridiculous about it, like, why not? What happens to human beings when they go into prison? Do they create dominance hierarchies? And you bet your fucking ass they do. Go into any like maximum security penitentiary, you're going to see dominance hierarchies.
Natural pack, there's no battle for the throne. Young wolves don't challenge the parents for dominance. They just leave when they grow up and they go start their own packs. Labeling parents as alpha.
And they start their own packs. Sounds like a dominance hierarchy to me. Well, I can't be the leader here. I'm going to go start my own. That might be a form of dominance.
Makes no sense. I mean, at the very least, it doesn't help us understand wolves better. I mean, do we call a doe an alpha deer just because she has a fawn? Would you call your dad or mom the alpha of the family?
Okay, that's a non sequitur. Enough of that. Yeah, I would certainly hope so. Yes, actually, you would. You actually would call the dad the alpha because he's the one who is expected to lead. He is the one that is expected to die for everyone else. Maybe not the retriever or the Labrador, but he's the one who is expected to die. As I said before, when we're looking at value exchanges, he's the one at the top. He's the one who is like you would call it patriarchy, but he's the one who is biologically, instinctively, evolutionarily, proclivity wise is the one who's going to jump in front of live ammunition, even for females that he doesn't even know. Oh my God, really? Is it spam time already? All right.
Why are we actually giving such a, quote, power to these individuals by calling them alphas when all they are is, parents of the pups?
And it turns out that the alpha male wasn't even always the one leading the pack. When the pups are young and being nursed by the male brings her food.
No, so therefore it must be submission. Brings her food that he had to kill.
He attends to her.
So during those first 8 or 9.
All right, so I think I've already got through the etymology of this. This is the great part right here. So here we go.
Meme that was beyond their control. In 1982, Dutch primatologist Frans de Waal published the book Chimpanzee Politics. De Waal's idea was that if we wanted to look at other animals to learn about dominance and hierarchies and maybe how they apply to humans, we should look at our closest relative. Chimpanzee Politics explored how chimpanzees angle for power and influence. It became an instant classic, pouring gas on the fire of the popular idea of the alpha male.
Oh, but let's not forget another great book another tragically popular book called Sex at Dawn that also makes the case that chimpanzees, well, bonobos in particular, are peace-loving peaceniks. They're liberal, wokesy, organize each other in the round. Okay, don't forget, we got to put that out there. It's going to be
Former Speaker of the U.S. House, Newt Gingrich, even handed out copies of it in Congress. That explains a lot. From that point to today, when people talk
love these asides. Yeah, it's that conservative. Doesn't smell it.
About an alpha male, they usually mean a kind of bully, someone who's loud, aggressive, always dominating.
Not necessarily. It's not what the red pill says. Red pill just uses that as a designation to put that guy at the top of a value hierarchy. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Put it at the top of a value hierarchy, responsibility hierarchy, respectability hierarchy. There's a lot of hierarchies. Like, we expect men to perform, right? And who gets to play lead guitar? Who gets to be the running back? Who gets to be the quarterback? Who gets to be the wide receiver? Who gets to be the tight end?
Constantly proving he's the boss. But this completely gets the science wrong again.
It's a complete mess, sort of. If you look.
Wait, hold on. Here you go, hustler. Lisa Sparks again. Really? Come on, man. Give me credit. I'm way better than that.
At YouTube or whatever, there isn't a lot of good information out there about dominance or alpha males. Almost none of that material is grounded in our understanding based in animal behavior.
Aaron studies the social lives and emotions of chimpanzees and other apes.
I think what interests me most about chimpanzees is their similarity to humans.
Okay, remember I told you how physiognomy is real? What's this guy look? His look translating to you?
Are one of our closest living relatives. Chimpanzees and bonobos are the two animals that are more similar to humans than any other species.
How similar? Well, chimps and their cousins, bonobos, they share about 98.7% of their DNA with humans. And they share 99.6% of their DNA with each other.
A lot of the reason that chimpanzees are useful for studying human behavior is that we are apes.
Like all other primates, chimpanzees live in groups with deep social connections. A chimp community can range from just around a dozen to over 100 individuals. Male chimps will stay in a group their whole life. They stay close to mom until they're about 10. Then they join the older males and do guy stuff. Female chimps typically
guy stuff. What's that?
Leave the group they grew up with when they're teenagers. They join another group and spend the rest of their life there. Now, wolf packs, remember, are really just families. But
so with chimpanzees,
jury's still out on that, but
they seem to have a really clear dominance hierarchy, especially among the adult males. And all the adult male chimpanzees in a community have a sense of where they fall relative to other adult males.
This dominance sort of takes shape through charging, chasing, and slapping each other, kind of like a game of chimpanzee playground tag.
It's usually the threat of force, and then they'll sort of indicate submission or deference through the pant grunt, this grunting, panting noise.
All right, let's keep going here. All right, here we go. This is great.
Females and to reproduce more with females.
But that's not the only hierarchy in chimp societies, right? There may be completely different hierarchies for who gets to sleep where, or who gets access to food. There's not just one top male in every situation. Being an alpha male, if you're an ape, which we are, is not a personality trait. Who has power, who has influence, and who ranks where?
Okay, clearly you have never studied the 4 laws of behavioral genetics. So go to the back of the class right there.
It depends on the situation that you're talking about. And it is rarely just about physical strength or control.
If you watch like YouTube videos or the way kids are talking about it in high school or
no, coercion, threats, lots of other things are forms of control.
College.
The strength is even a way to try and not be weak.
Because men are the backbone of the slave force.
We've evolved for the hierarchy.
That's not how it's meant to be used in animal behavior. It's not a personality trait, it's a relationship. And it doesn't necessarily relate to other behaviors like leadership. In chimpanzees, the alpha is not the leader. He's just the highest ranking male. Okay,
so what does that mean? He's got the biggest dick?
Other chimps who might be leaders, for example, and protecting the group and going on these territorial excursions. And I think that primatology...
Why would they be going on territorial excursions? Perhaps because chimpanzees go to war. Bonobos actually do go to war as well. But I thought they were peace-loving, egalitarian peaceniks.
Just sort of got focused on dominance because it was something that we could measure pretty easily.
One of the remarkable things about chimpanzees is that they form these really strong and enduring social bonds with other chimps.
If I were to think about what makes a successful male chimpanzee, it wouldn't be, are you the alpha? And it wouldn't necessarily be, are you even high ranking? Although that might help. It would really be about, do you have a friend? Are you connected to others?
See, I love how they make it like this. All right. Oh, do you have a friend? Are you emotionally intelligent?
Other individuals in the community. If a female doesn't leave at adolescence and she stays in her community, sometimes she'll stay in sort of the neighborhood that she grew up in, and she can develop a really strong relationship with her mother throughout adulthood. These are like the strongest relationships you see in chimpanzees. They're often inseparable. Really amazing to watch. The second strongest relationship in adult chimpanzees is between adult male chimpanzees, where longer than many marriages.
Chimpanzee is not only about being strong and powerful. The most influential males also have to be generous. They show empathy. They resolve conflict. They bring food.
How do they resolve conflict?
Food to other chimpanzees. They'll play with the baby.
They sit them down across from each other. Hey, I know you guys are having shit together. You guys are beefing together. Let's talk about this.
They'll engage with the females. Male chimpanzees spend a lot of time building goodwill and favor with a lot of other chimps when they're trying to move up the hierarchy. And we can't overlook bonobos. They're just as closely related to us as chimps are. In bonobo societies, the dominant individual is often a female. And among bonobos...
Incorrect. Patently, categorically false.
Conflict isn't resolved with strength or aggression. They resolve...
Also, categorically, provably false.
Conflict with sex. So yes, tons of animals construct these social ranking systems, but this simplistic view of dominance by aggression and strength and control is pulled from bad science, and our closest relatives prove that is not the only way, or even the best way to gain influence and power. Ultimately, the very science...
Why would you want to gain influence and power if not through dominance? Dominance in what way? Influence and power. Okay, so you're gonna be the best, most diplomatic monkey, and therefore people are gonna respect you for being the most diplomatic.
Scientists to introduce the idea of the alpha male being this king of aggression and dominance, being the top wolf.
So these guys have a problem with this idea of this, really the Andrew Tate machismo version of quote unquote alpha. Okay, but nothing thus far has in any way precluded the idea of dominance hierarchies, respectability hierarchies, territory hierarchies, resource hierarchies. None of this, or access to women hierarchies, right? None of that has in any way broke down the idea that those don't exist. So if those hierarchies exist, it therefore stands to reason that there has to be a leader. That's the thing that gets me, especially when tradcons are guilty of this too. But here you have this liberal lefty, guy from PBS telling us about dominance hierarchy. That there's essentially what they're saying is there's no such thing as a dominance hierarchy, or those dominance hierarchies aren't as important as your diplomacy hierarchy or your egalitarian hierarchy or whatever it is. Like essentially they're just trying to rejigger the game so that they win, right? But they lose.
Has had to fight for decades to get the actual truth out there.
Not just interesting, but frustrating. I keep having to answer questions about things that are this whole alpha business, and that's
be corrected.
I think that it's very important for any scientist
to look at other animals to sort of understand our behavior, but chimpanzee males and threats.
Why this misunderstanding about alpha males is so popular in so many aspects of our society.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there really quickly because I've got another thing to go for. So let's go back to bonobos for 1 second, because this one gets thrown out there all the time. Chimps go to war. Silverback gorillas go to war. Bonobos go to war. Why would they be worried about territorial dominance or territorial excursions? Why ever leave the forest? We're all just one happy fuck club here. No, because territory and resources, and in this case, it could be just the resources are the territory, right? Go and find the tasty food is over there. Let's go over and expand our territory. That guy, the one who makes the decisions to go over there and gets enough guys to go over there and defend that territory from the other tribe of bonobos that wants that same fucking food right there. That's how you get dominance hierarchies. Because there is combat. There is warfare. There is, I'm going to take your shit before you take my shit. And that's, and here's the thing, here's the funny thing is, again, in research after research, study after study, you see that women are more attracted to guys with dark triad person. I don't think we should call them dark, but dark triad personality traits. Why does hybristophilia exist? Why do women like thugs? Jerks get laid. Why? I remember that, I remember being on Access Vegas, and had this. It was like one of the first discussions we ever had on Access Vegas. It was like, chicks dig jerks. No, we don't. But you fuck them. Why do you was it nice guys? Guys will start being nice when women start fucking nice guys. That's why. Remember the one chick who's 32 years old and she doesn't feel the spark because the guy's not alpha. He's a passive bonobo. Well, let me go for you. Let me explain something to you right here, because I've covered this so many times. I hate to even try to cover this one more time, but I'm going to anyways. And let's see. Here we go. I usually use this as my jump off point here, so I'm just going to show you my search here. Bonobos aren't peaceniks. It says this is the AI overview. Sorry. You're right. Recent research challenges the idea of bonobos as purely peaceful hippie apes, showing male bonobos can be surprisingly aggressive, even more so than male chimpanzees in some contexts. Though females maintain social control and they still lack extreme violence like infanticide seen in chimps, painting a more nuanced picture of the complex relatives. They use aggression for social maneuvering, not just warfare, and female alliances keep things in check, making them less violent than often portrayed, but not conflict-free. Higher male aggression, a significant study found bonobos commit more aggressive acts towards other males within the group than male chimpanzees do challenging the peaceful stereotype. Aggression for mating. Aggressive male bonobos were actually more successful at mating, suggesting aggression serves a reproductive purpose. It took me, I just put this in. Bonobos aren't peaceniks. That's all I did. That's all I put in. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me remove him out of there. You guys haven't seen this yet. There you go. That's all I'm reading this off of Google right here. What's the other one? Nuanced conflicts. While aggressive bonobos don't engage in the same level of lethal violence, like killing competitors or infanticide, as seen in chimpanzees, female power. Female bonobos collectively dominate using their alliances, managing male aggression, which is there, providing stability, explains NPR and Medium. Okay. So that's number one. Stop sharing that. Let's go to the next piece of loving. And so this was actually by the way, it took me all of 7.5 seconds to find this on Google. Here you go. How about this?
The image of bonobos has been challenged by recent research. Once seen as peaceful and preferring sex over aggression, new studies reveal a different side to these unique primates. Bonobos, found in the rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, are slender compared to common chimpanzees, with longer limbs and a more rounded head. While they share similarities with chimpanzees, recent findings suggest they are not as peaceful as once thought. Contrary to the belief that bonobos prefer sex over violence and only hunt small prey, studies have shown that they can be aggressive and hunt monkeys of other species. Female bonobos play a significant role in hunting groups. A recent study published in Current Biology found that male bonobos showed a higher rate of aggressive behavior compared to male chimpanzees. While male chimpanzees may exhibit lethal aggression, bonobos engage in more frequent but less intense disputes. This difference is attributed to their approach to forming coalitions. Bonobos are more independent and can afford more fights.
There you go. You gonna believe me or your lying eyes? Yeah, that's true. I've seen this as well. By the way, scientists gave monkeys tokens to trade for food, and guess what? The females did. They traded sex for the male tokens. Nobody taught them prostitution, but they became prostitutes. That is very true. There are dominance hierarchies. There are alpha males, for lack of a better term. You can tell high value male. I don't know. King males, kings. There's the guys who get laid, the guys who fuck and guys who don't fuck. And no amount of trying to, I'm going to point something else, that there's a bigger issue here that has a wider reaching lesson to be taught here. But before I do that, I want to show you some of these other ones. By the way, thank you, Rob Henderson, for all of this good stuff. Actually, let me take out that. Okay. Dominant female chimp. These are from books that he's got. These are I pulled these just from my bookmarks on Twitter. Rob Henderson. Dominant female chimps are known to kill the offspring of females with lower status. Ergo, a dominance hierarchy, even amongst females. Maybe they do it out of spite. It helps them maintain their social position. They don't just kill the baby. They may even eat it in front of the crying mother. Like that? Yeah, but this is the language of empiricism that is conflicting with the language of emotionalism. Have you got that? So the empiricism says they might even eat the baby. Oh, wait, here we go. Promiscuity, this more to your point, promiscuity was a strategy in all our closest primate cousins, chimps, bonobos, even orangutans. Promiscuity has a clear purpose for the female. She's not just getting her rocks off. She is making sure that no local male knows who the father is. Sound like cuckoldry? Because what's the outcome? You know, the reason why would that be an evolutionary adaptation? Because when a new alpha male comes in to take control of that troop, whether it's silverback gorillas, it's macaques, it's chimps, bonobos, whatever. When the new male comes in and deposes, kills, whatever, the rival alpha, and the new one comes in, what's the first order of business that he does? Kills off all the offspring of the previous alpha. And then What does that do? It has the effect of sending the females, his new harem, remember, exclusive access to females, sends them into estrus. And then they start ovulating because violence is fucking sexy to bonobos. How do I know? Well, we can go talk to Rob Henderson again. Overall, male bonobos turned out to be about 3 times as likely as chimps to engage in aggressive behavior. Their aggression didn't appear to be a turnoff for female bonobos who actually preferred to mate with the aggressive males. And last but not least, the gorilla father who fails to keep an infant safe should an outsider charge into his group and kill an infant there. He loses future opportunities to mate with the mother. Mothers whose infants are killed often desert the hapless defender and follow the killer instead. Hybristophilia, anyone? I'm waiting. Somebody give me, like, I just have 4 different quotes, and then took me 7 seconds to figure out that bonobos are actually not these, egalitarian, let's all live in a fucking monkey commune organization. PBS wants you to think so. PBS wants you to think there's no such thing as an alpha male. There's an alpha female, of course, but there's no such thing as an alpha male. Andrew Tate is wrong. Not according to primatology. That dominance hierarchy is alive and well in the jungles of the Congo or wherever they are. Our closest primate relatives are fucking as Mike Sartain has said on many occasions, hairless murder rapes. That's what we are. There are dominance hierarchies. To deny that there aren't is to deny. People want to, again, the reason why this seems like logic is only if you accept social constructionism, the blank slate, emotionalism, and egalitarianism. Kick 1 or 2 of those things out and the whole thing crumbles. How do I kick them out? With empirical evidence that I just gave you right now. It's not social constructionism that results in an Andrew Tate. It's evolution. It's right there. Using the same example, using the same evidence that they would like you to believe is supporting their argument. Once again, there's debate. That's real debate. I just gave you real debate. Fuck yeah. That's real debate. What's true and what's not. I just debated this guy. Here's your evidence. Refute it, please. Go ahead, PBS guy. Can't? Okay, I guess I win the debate then. That's a real debate. Are human beings actually subject to dominance, evolved dominance hierarchies? Go. Here you go. I win. I just gave you, and I gave you the exact same studies that the guy uses, close to it anyways. It's the same similar, primatology studies. It's bullshit. PBS is bullshit. Defund PBS. Fuck those guys. I remember when people are trying to defund PBS and everything, and it's like, yeah, well, they're liberal and wokesy. No, they're not. They're PBS. They have to be objective and true and real. No, you come to the Rational Male for objective, true, and real. Oh, my dogs are here. Look. Oh, wait. There's Ned. Oh, Ned, you're not going to stick around? Oh, hi, Ned. Ned wants to come. It's time for me to go. Ned's already bugging me. 3-hour mark isn't time. There's Ned. Dog time. It's time for a palate cleansing. It's a late show Ned appearance. He's hungry. He wants some food. You want some food? Good boy. He's the dog. He's the dog from Fallout. Oh, now you're going to go back to the bed. Okay. He's going to go on the Ned Cam. Hang on. There you go. Ned Cam. Live. I bet I could put this here and you guys would just super chat and super chat. You know how they have those sleep cams? Maybe that's what I should do. Let's just get him to sleep right there the whole time. We'll call it. He is a handsome devil. That's what we'll call it. It's the Ned Cam. When's the last time you saw the Ned Cam? Anyway, yeah, it's 4:00. It's time for here. It's 4:00. It's time for him to eat. Yeah, he's a good boy. Actually, you know something? He probably already did eat. My wife probably just fed him. He usually comes over to me after he eats and like gives me nuzzles and stuff like, thank you for my food. Yes. There's dog hierarchies too. See, this is so here's I'll finish with this. The lesson here is that whole thing that PBS is doing to debunk the alpha male thing seemed like a good idea. By the way, that's not the first time I've had to debunk the debunking, right? I've done this several times. That's why I was ready to go. I'm like, oh, I got lots of stuff for this one. The red pill, anybody who knows the red pill already knows the answers to all these questions because we've been doing that. I think I've done this show probably like 4 times in the last 10 years. Somebody's going to come around and go, yeah, we do need more Ned Cam, God damn it. But I've done this exact same debunking of the alpha wolves thing so many times. It's like old news for me. But the newbies don't know this. Maybe Pearl will now realize it, right? Oh, I'm going to go use Rollo stuff. Maybe Myron will. Who knows? Like anybody who gets into this debate about, the etymology, the word science of alpha. That's why Kevin Samuels started calling it high value male because everybody thought alpha was cringe. Okay, so high value male. So whoever's at the top of the dominance hierarchy, that still doesn't say that there's no hierarchy. There is. And so in his most gratuitous, exaggerated, stupid, bonehead way, Andrew Tate still recognizes the hierarchy. I don't think he does it well, but you can't deny it. Hell, you can go on TikTok right now and find girls who will confirm there's alphas, there's betas, and then there's the invisibles, like the 3 different types of guys, the guys who get fucked in spite of themselves, the 4.5%ers, the 20% guys who are the beta male bonobos, right? The ones who have to pick the fleas off of the females to get laid or offer them monkey treats or bananas, right? Whatever, take care of the alphas, sprogs, the offspring, and babysit while she goes and gets laid with the rival. But the thing is whenever I want to reiterate this, the last time I had to debunk this, I think or the first time I had to debunk this was when Trump came into office in 2016, 2017. And the reason for that is because they still want you to believe that masculinity is ridiculous. It's stupid. It's toxic. And as long as Trump is in office, we're just subject to all these dominant alpha male guys who don't really realize there's no such thing as an alpha male. No, there is. Absolutely there is. It's confirmed every single day. They don't want to say that because it's a form of intrasexual competition. How does a human today in 2025, how does a human male that looks like this guy, how does he get to the top of the heap? Or at least bring the alpha male down, is to disqualify the idea that there even is an alpha male. To say that there is no hierarchy. It's genius, right? Get the alpha male to disqualify himself. Done. Now I get pussy and he doesn't, or I get pussy and he's still getting a little pussy, right? It's a form of, like, remember we talked about sneaky fucker mating strategy, right? You identify with the female, you become male feminist dating strategy. That's what it is. It's just like you're just broadcasting, like hoping that all the women who watch this video will want to fuck you for that. Oh, you're right. There's no such thing as an alpha male. Fuck that Andrew Tate. But meanwhile, they're fucking Andrew Tate. Or somebody like him. That's why social constructionism is bullshit. Because when women will say one thing and then go fuck the other guy, the exact opposite of the guy. Like Dan Bilzerian says this all the time. Women will say one thing and they'll go fuck the guy that they say they hate the most. So the medium is the message. It's not what they're saying, it's what they're doing. That's the only thing. So what this guy is doing anyways, is denying the idea that there's an alpha male because he thinks that in doing so, he's going to put him into a better position in the hierarchy so he gets pussy and you don't, or Andrew Tates don't get it. Be more cooperative. Be a better slave. Get back on the plantation. That's what this is about. is emotionalism versus empiricism. That's what the whole video is about. It's a form of social control, is what it is. Because if everybody believes that, then we're all good, right? We're all egalitarian peacenik monkeys. No, we're not. Until you get smashed in the face. Everybody has an idea until they get punched in the face. Right? You're gonna get punched in the face. You want to know why there's incels? You want to know why there's red pill guys? You want to know why there's guys who are trying to become something more than they are? Because they're sick of getting fucking punched in the face by reality when emotionalism is telling them, no, it's really not like that. Get out of here. Or look at, last but not least, let's do this real quick. I meant to put this on here, but I did not. Oh, this is today. So hold on a second. There we go. Richard Reeves, take it home.
The term toxic masculinity has a lot of problems with it. But one of the problems with it is if you do like a 2x2 and you've got toxic, non-toxic, masculine and feminine, and then fill in those boxes, people will say, well, not all masculinity is toxic. There's non-toxic masculinity. Well, first of all, being not toxic is not a hugely aspirational goal for many of us. Like, I didn't raise my sons and say, just think, boys, one day you might not be poisonous. Imagine a world where you're not toxic, right? So first of all, horrible framing, non-toxic. But then you say, okay, so what does non-toxic masculinity look like? And people will very often say things like, well, that's where you're more emotionally vulnerable, you're much more caring, you're nurturing. And then you say, and how is that different to stereotypical femininity, maybe positive femininity?
God, he's right there. Come on, man. Come on, bring it home.
And then they'll say, well, it isn't really. So, okay. So the danger is that non-toxic masculinity,
I'm going to make him red pill. I swear to God, my life's goal
is actually just an empty set in that 2x2. And then what you're doing is you're presenting boys and young men with a choice between being toxic and being female. And that's not a choice that many of us want to make. And it has created, I think, this cultural position we're in right now. The really difficult challenge here, and I'm finding it even difficult to talk about now, is how to articulate positive aspects of masculinity without in some way coming across as seeing it as better than.
There you go. Because it's a zero-sum game, Mr. Reeves. God, he's so close. He's so close.
Or as elevating it. But let's be specific. It is true that men take more risks than women. On average.
Yes. Now, back that up with evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology.
Average. Distributions overlap. But men have a higher risk appetite, or a less risk averse, if you want to put it that way. Is that?
Yeah, can you at least cross the line and say it's not about, they weren't culturally socialized to be that way. They're innately like that.
A good or a bad thing about men? And the answer is yes, it is a good and a bad thing about men. It is good when it leads men to take risks to save the lives of others.
So risks are only acceptable when you're willing to sacrifice yourself for others. Remember, take a bullet for your family. Let's keep going.
And that is almost always something that it'll be men doing. It is good if it means that.
No, it is always going to be men doing that because we have a biological evolutionary proclivity to do so.
Men are willing to take, say, some risks around business, which leads to success, etc. It is good if they're willing to sacrifice themselves from others.
But it's toxic if they fail, right?
It is bad if it means that they blow all their money gambling, or they take crazy risks and end up drowning or dying or ending up taking drugs in a certain way. And so is it better to have a more stereotypically female approach to risk or male? And the answer is neither. We need both.
Thank you. Finally. Richard Reeves, he'll get there. I know you guys don't think so. You don't believe me? I'm going to get him there. I'm going to get him across that line. If I have to drag him across myself, he's almost there. See, the problem that he's having right now is he can't quite square the circle, right? He can't can't quite, because he has boys, right? So he knows what they're up against at this point. He's still relying on this like liberal wokesy understanding of like the world and social constructionism, emotionalism, egalitarianism. So everything that's good is anything that benefits, well, society as defined by gynocentrism, right? And once again, by the way, not me, this is turd flinging monkey once again. Remember the video when I was talking about, he was doing the breakdown of Ali Bastucky, that one? Remember what he said, like the same masculinity that causes a guy to run into a fireman to run into the burning building and save the baby is the same masculinity that makes that guy go jump across do those videos where they jump across high, buildings and stuff, or, they jump out of a plane or bungee jump or do stupid pranks and stunts and stupid shit like that. That's the same thing. It's the same masculinity, same impulse, same drive. Likes to fight guy, same drive. Oh, it's toxic. Not if he's beating off the attacker on the subway who just elbowed you in the face, baby. That's acceptable. That's okay. That's not toxic. He can be violent as long as he's protecting that poor old lady who just got punched by that dude, randomly punched by that dude. Unless, of course, he gets arrested and then goes to jail for it, right? But the idea, the impulse to do it is still masculinity. That's where he just not, if I could just drag him across the line, right? He's correct. He's almost there. Like I said, he's like, it's both. It is both. Welcome, Rich. Welcome to the other side. Please. What's funny is like the more you get involved in understanding like male nature and the red pill, the less you're going to adhere to this female-centric way of interpreting your world, interpreting your experience. And then the next step after that is understanding that it's all been turned against you. It's all PBS trying to convince you that bonobos are peace-loving, egalitarian hippies. And why would they be doing that? To control that masculinity that you just defined for me a second ago. Because that is what scares them the most. Anyways, I got to get out of here. I'm well over time. Sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. I got nothing else to do. Lily Gaddis and Kevin Smith say I should marry a white feminist 304 to help save the race from depopulation. But should I make sure she's baptized first so she won't delete the kid? Yeah. Yep. You're on the right team. Good to see you've risen. I've risen indeed. Last, hope you're recovering well. Just got the second edition of TRM and going through it now. Thank you. Good. Excellent. I'm glad. I think you were the one that actually hit me up in my DMs. All right, guys. We're supposed to do Access Vegas on Wednesday. I just did 3 hours here, 3:17. We're not doing 12 hours. Fuck you. I got to everything I wanted to anyways. Probably more thoroughly than I did. I'm hot. And you got Ned Cam today too. How awesome is that? I haven't done a home show in a while. I kind of like doing them here. Although I do like I need my Kyle. Anyways, there should be an Access Vegas show on Wednesday, which is January 7th. If I'm feeling up to it and feeling froggy, I think I might be able to do it. So expect Wednesday to be that day. Since I am housebound and I'm not really going anywhere, I am going to start doing some short for me videos like live streams. I might do one Tuesday. I might do one Friday, just for shits and giggles. They might just be Q&As, just like to keep the fires burning. But I might go for an hour. I might go for half an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is. Also, I want to also let you guys know that Reignite, my program with the guys, my guy program, everybody has a guy program. We are accepting new membership for 2026, and we're trying to expand. If that's something that appeals to you, please read the book, the 6th book, Reignite, and then you'll get a better idea about what my program is designed for you. It's not like Mike's. It's not MOA. It's not Rich Cooper's thing. It's not Orion Teraband's captain's quarters thing, whatever the fuck that is. Mine is specifically for guys who want to rebuild themselves, who are in the process, who are zeroed out in one way or another. I just got zeroed out. I got zeroed out on December 23rd, and I'm coming back from being zeroed out. Now, I didn't get divorced, but there's many ways to get zeroed out. It might be your health. It might be a death in the family. It might be your business collapsing. It might be God knows whatever else, right? You might be a failure to launch, right? Never had a girlfriend, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're not living the life that you want to be. You want to come back and you want to be more than you are. That's what Reignite's about. It's about becoming someone more than you are. And it's not about, we have a tribe and we're going to go take, we're going to go do cold plunges in some lake in the, early hour, 4 a.m. and what? Fuck that. The earliest we get up is to go do deep sea fishing in Miami. We might do that. We have style counselors. We got Jim Kilgore's coming back up for this year. I have Christian Bauer from Jackson Maximus. I just got him signed on board now too. He's actually becoming his own brand right now, kind of like, Louis Vuitton, something like that. He's his own brand now. So he's also on board for style. I've got several guys for fitness these days. You want finances? Guess what? I've got the fucking best of the best. I got Robert Kiyosaki. I've got, Jason Hartman, name it. I got it. So, we cater to specific needs, the individual needs of guys, and help them to rebuild and become something more than they are. And that's really what Reignite is about. So if you're interested in that, the website is reignitealpha.com. Alpha.com. Yes. That word, alpha.com. Reignitealpha.com. So check us out there. Also, Audible, the new book, available all formats, hardback, paperback, Kindle, Audible, all available now. Reignite, The Rational Male, Reignite. You can get it where finer books are sold. You can get it everywhere good books are sold. So Amazon, please go get it. They control 89% of the publishing industry. So with that said, I will see you guys on Wednesday, if not sooner. Thanks for watching, and I will see you after I press this button.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my Christian. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules, now I know the game. I've got some new tools, please do the same. Time came by when over like a matchbox stereo. Time
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again.
We're safe.
One more again. I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again. You could have the best in my life.
Feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Oh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stepping with her hair like she's calling you Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting messy, working up and down on your body.
Sorry.
Ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. Maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Yeah, baby, one more again.
All right.
And maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different.
production of the Irrational Male. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2026. And don't steal Ned's stuff.
We're never gonna score! We're never gonna score! Gotcha, bitch!
I feel like I just hit back in battery acid.
We say to give a woman vote is like to let a monkey fly a plane. Very dangerous.